Being human, so peculiar, we're too scared to make a change. Shakara, Shakara, everybody's out to get you and you're acting like it's strange. Cause being human, so peculiar, we're too scared to make a change. Shakara, ha, Shakara, ha, Shakara, ha, Shakara, ha, Shakara.
And we are back once again
Baba
from
Booey.
a B-52 over the city of Nagasaki, coming back for another tap. This is the Library of Mass Destruction. I am your host, Capitalisimo, and joining me this week is a very special guest, Gio Panicetti. How are you doing today, sir?
I could do a bit better, but this has been a last minute replacement. We're calling in the ring. Sandy is out sick, and what a great intro, by the way. Who does that's the song reminds me of something like, I'm thinking, late 90s, early 2000s, like Atari Teenage Riot, or here in Canada.
So that is a Mike of Pole remix of a song by a British artist named Look Mum No Computer, who probably doesn't have politics that align with ours, and so I haven't linked him or credited him so that he doesn't notice that we're using it. But Mike did a deep remix, and then the intro this season was done by a combination of our good friend Michael Pohl and also Hartley, the editor of Amp Magazine. So
okay, there you go. It does remind me of Michael Pohl special, but no, it reminds me of a lesser known Canadian band in that genre. If people remember Econoline Crush, that was like authentic peak, before Canada went to shit. But we can still come back.
Before the leaves moldered on the ground.
Yeah, man, living in Canada in the early 2000s was a wonderland. I'm telling you, it really much was paradise on earth. But except for libtards or whatever. But that's no, I mean,
and so rapidly did it decay.
Yeah, yes. It only took 10 years to bring down a glorious Commonwealth nation. But anyways, speaking of bringing down a nation through terror. Notice that's a good segue. See, like
it is. It's like you do this for money.
I do this for money. I always surprise myself, like when Vincent Gallo said on Howard Stern, he goes, "This is great. I should get my own radio show. I could curse people all day and tell them to get cancer." But as we'll see, the government actually does give you weaponized cancer, as we'll see.
It does. Mental cancer.
Not just the Russian government gives people cancer weaponized.
Most people don't realize that the cover to Program to Kill looks like a hip hop shirt.
It does.
Because it's got all these names in it listed like urban youths gunned down in commission of a crime.
Well, hip hop was part of the op.
That's true.
That's true. No, some of them do admit this. Actually, I remember all the way back.
Has there been a good strict parapolitics guy who has gone so far down the rabbit hole that they turned right wing?
KRS-One.
Oh,
you want to talk about hip hop?
Well, no, not hip hop. Not hip hop. No, a parapolitics guy.
Oh God, I guess like Flesh Simulator. Everyone accuses him of being a crypto-fash, but not that he is. But I'm pretty sure there has been maybe a few. There's been like I think some of them that were a part of the sort of like Red Brown Alliance, like post left days on, during peak Clownvid. I think some of them eventually became right wing.
Now that I'm thinking about it, that does kind of describe me, because my allegiance post dates my interest in this type of thing. So I guess there is that. Interesting.
But they also hate, like, I guess I'm thinking of Sean McCarthy, but even though like Sean McCarthy has like a powerful disdain for the rightoids, I mean, with good reason, because I noticed like a lot of like contemporary within the past years, 2 years, if not longer, of discourse on the right, at least to the Twitter side, has essentially just been like copying a more esoteric, overtly edgelord version of something that at the end of the day goes back to like neoconservatism. Like right now they're having this like huge war on, like, if you have a disagreement about usury and exorbitant predatory interest rates, then it's like that's being retard, right? And it's like actually the real based thing is anyways, I'm not going to get into it, but
the most base thing you can do is leverage yourself to the hilt and buy a gun and go to, never mind, actually, let's billions must.
Like at the beginning of Falling Down, like I guess a lot of like
the most base thing you can do actually is to take a student loan, and then instead of going to school, you should buy a CRISPR lab and put it in your garage, and then you should
pay for itself.
And then you should genetically engineer a virus to wipe out a specific group of people. And then
they try.
Frank Herbert writes of this. Yeah.
You remember the gay bomb in the 60s? The CIA gay bomb?
I mean, whatever went on.
It was called the television.
It was called the television.
No, they actually were developed. They're trying to develop a gay bomb to demoralize enemy populations. But
well, enemy population, it's like, now all you soldiers are fagaless. How do you feel about that?
They just deployed it on American cities in Western cities.
Now they're hunkering in each other's foxholes.
That was like I was gonna make a joke about a certain country and their defense force, but
Randall Shirker says Air Force, Geo. It was an Air Force program.
I thought the Navy. Oh, it was an Air Force program. Yeah, that's right. Like they were going to deploy a vivification gas.
We had so much success with the napalm. We wanted to drop something that would make people be flaming in another way.
Oh, God. Exactly, Dylan Roth. That could be an amazing John Waters movie where the government experiments with gay gas, and then all the world becomes like a pride parade, like more so than the pride parade we live in. But like,
finally, also Randall Shirker sent us $5. Says finally the slap edition of LMD. Glad to see you folks finally covering an text for parapolitics.
Super chats, people Sneed, but
yes,
no, it's very funny. I mean, I think I'm very sympathetic to a lot of parapolitics thing, but a lot of the people that espouse parapolitics are very annoying, and they have this thing about like the CIA, or they're still the Austrian painters, and the Austrian painters did everything. The only people who have any agency in history. I'm caricaturizing it. There is plenty of parapolitics people who are way more nuanced than that. I'm just making a joke. So please, if anyone's listening to this, because we're covering Program to Kill, I'm not making fun of all of you, but I'm just saying that I think I said this. I believe I said this on Jay Burden's program. Most political theory of the past 20 to 30 to, I would say, 50 years, well, really last 100 years, most political theory has essentially been the theory of conspiracy. And I think a lot of people that were, in their own right, brilliant academics, such as Hofstadter, who pulled towards power and the neoliberal world order. He wrote The Paranoid Style in American Politics. I think what's neglected is that most political theory is essentially constructed upon a form of conspiracism, and conspiracism itself is in a sense a political ontology. And I think the demonization of conspiracy theory as just a specific flavor or variety of kooky theories about the nature of power is sort of coming undone in the internet age before our eyes.
Of course, because there's
Yeah.
no ability to control a single channel that you call signal, right? But that does,
Yeah.
of course, contain noise and signal. I mean, the easiest way to say, hey, what is it? Give me a non-conspiratorial explanation for 9/11.
Oh my God. Well,
Sometimes
because the
buildings
official story is a
sometimes
conspiracy.
buildings just do that.
Yeah,
that is the non-conspiratorial explanation. Sometimes buildings just do that.
Well, even like the official story, when you look at it, even though it was presented by the government, say to you were to buy the official story, is in essence a conspiracy
Of
of
course.
Islamists who train themselves to go after these buildings
Yeah.
and to fulfill a plan in clandestine secret. And for example, if there was a raid when they were, I believe it was not in Afghanistan, it was in 2003 when they invaded Iraq. They went on a clandestine raid. I believe it was Delta Force, or it may have been the SEALs, that did a clandestine raid on a Taliban stronghold or an Al Qaeda stronghold. And they discovered a pile of tapes. Unfortunately, the audio was scrubbed, I think because they didn't have the best technology, of Muhammad Atta in these training videos for the Al Qaeda insurgents. And Muhammad Atta was sort of like chopping it up with other then known conspirators in the 9/11 plot. And a lot of the tapes revealed that they had a very sophisticated network of conspiracy that they were doing. Now, a lot of those techniques were oddly similar to what the CIA was putting in their handbooks and training manuals in the 80s when they gave them to the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. But yeah, nevertheless, the official story is a conspiracy as well. And everything is conspiracy. So I wonder if Wendy Pickney could
You
write
mean
a
to tell
book
me
about
everything is conspiracy?
everything's computer.
Always has been.
Everything's computer. Everything's conspiracy. Well, while we're recording this, I'm actually listening to the band Machine Girl, which is like the parapolitics group du jour. And they have this song called Psychic Attack, but from the perspective that's written from the perspective of the CIA mind hacker. And
Nice.
It's quite amazing.
What were you saying about Dr. Wendy Painting PhD?
That she could write a second book, excuse me, in a similar style as Timothy McVeigh and OKC. She could basically write a similar book with 9/11. Not that she would, though. I mean, where you like take all the different conspiracies.
Oh,
and you,
God.
Yeah,
I mean, I would love it.
That would take a lifetime of work, but
I mean, she probably had. I mean, she is apparently. She has a second unpublished. She has unpublished pages longer than Aberration in the Heartland of the Real for the second Aberration in the Heartland of the Real,
which is 9/11.
No, it's more OKC.
Oh my God! How much can you write about OKC?
Well, there are a lot of things left unresolved at the end of Aberration in the Heartland of the Real.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Other people, the entire Elohim City plot. I mean, in order to really know what was going on, you need to find the other John Does. You need to talk about you need to track Andreas Strassmeyer. Every sort of person in the dramatis personae needs to be accounted for.
Was it the Arizona militia guy?
Andreas Strassmeyer, aka Andy the German, was a FBI infiltrator into Elohim City, which was a white nationalist settlement.
That's right. Arkansas. Yes, yeah. Didn't what prominent like alt-right 1.1 guy like white nationalist, was it Tom Metzger that had dealings with them, or was it there was a number of like prominent, I think even David Duke was involved or something. There was a number of prominent, like William Luther Pierce. I'm trying to like run down the Rolodex of these prominent ones that had some tangential affiliation with Elohim City. But he wasn't German. Oh my God. Anyways, Program to kill. Program to kill. This is a foundational text in parapolitics, and it's about how more or less the CIA turned off all the serial killers in the mid-90s, and they opted for the much more you could write a whole Baudrillardian analysis, the much more spectacle-driven thing, which is mass fun posters. So,
sure. I don't actually agree with McGowan in here. Like, I think that we'll get into it, but I think that his explanation actually imputes too much agency. So, let's get started. This is Programmed to Kill: The Politics of Serial Murder.
Serial murder
by David McGowan. David McGowan is getting a lot of press right now because Joe Rogan can't stop mentioning him. But for those of us, Rogan continuously mentions the weird times in the Valley, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is that about the New Age movement or?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's mostly about what was going on around Manson, and I mean that is also of course. Another MKUltra connection, of course.
Have you ever watched the speaking of like weirdo, fantastical right-wing figures, counterculture figures? Have you ever watched the Nicholas Schreck documentary on Charles Manson?
No, I haven't.
It's actually pretty good. Like, I don't think
I'm actually not honestly. I'm honestly not that. I'm specifically like not that interested in Manson.
Really?
Yeah. Like Manson himself does not hold a whole lot of interest for me. So.
But you figure, like, as a man of letters such as yourself, you would have, like, I know Norman Mailer was oddly fascinated with him, for example.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that I don't know. He's been done to death. I guess.
True.
He insists upon himself.
Exactly. Well, I mean, hey, that's true. But anyway, so we get started.
Yes, let's shall. Sex Freakman says, "Oh shit, Cap, you're reading again. Thought you managed to quit." No. I just had a lot of family in town who don't need to hear me through the wall of their guest bedroom reading this stuff during a visit. So, let's see. All right. Also, McGowan has a real way with words, so he's going to be dogging it up in this one. Pedopocracy, Mick molestation, Uncle Sam wants your children.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
this is like a flesh simulator video. Oh my god!
So
I'm excited.
Mind Control 101. The experimenters will be particularly interested in dissociative states, from the abasement de niveau mental to multiple personality in so-called mediums, and an attempt will be made to induce a number of states of this kind using hypnosis, from a declassified MKUltra 1 document. A little Godfrey. It is probably safe to say that this is not your typical true crime book. It is instead a journey into an even darker, more disturbing world.
It's a true crime book.
A true crime book, yes. Oh, God. One that exists in the shadows of the world, depicted in the hundreds of formulaic serial killer biographies that line the shelves of America's bookstores. For many readers, much of the information contained within these pages will be unfamiliar, and some of the theories and ideas that are discussed may seem rather bizarre. Perhaps the most controversial theory that readers will find themselves confronted with concerns a phenomenon commonly referred to as mind control. I'm making scare quotes when I say that.
Mind control.
Mind control. Don't you mean brain control? Although the concept of mind control has long been a staple of that polluted wellspring of information known as the conspiracy theory. I'm making half of a scare quote because he only used apostrophes for some reason. Literature where it often mingles freely with outlandish tales of reptilian aliens and paranormal activity David Icke called out. It has never been a polite topic of discussion in mainstream culture. David McGowan, not a respecter of the lusty Argonian maid. not a game. Gamers remain the most oppressed. So let's see here. Fuck, I lost my place immediately. Okay. The only exposure that most people have to the idea of mind control is through the often metaphorical and frequently absurd images that Hollywood has provided in a decades-long string of films, from The Manchurian Candidate and The Stepford Wives in the 1960s and 70s to such recent offerings as Conspiracy Theory and Zoolander, along with the remakes of both The Manchurian Candidate and The Stepford Wives. I love that Zoolander made the list. I love that. Do you feel like you need to assassinate the Malaysian Prime Minister?
There's a great film. I think it's on Tubi. You could I think it's called.
Are you fucking sponsored by Tubi? Because I want to be.
I'm hunting for the Tubi sponsorship. Yes.
Oh my god.
That'd be great. No, have you ever watched the found footage film Conspiracy Theory or The Conspiracy?
No.
I forget what it's called. Well, it's essentially about these guys that infiltrate a Bohemian Grove type of society, but they find themselves in this sacred hunt, and they have to wear these.
They get most dangerous gamed.
They get most dangerous gamed, and they wear the heads. I believe it's based off of an ancient Greek ritual where the sort of sacrifices would wear the head of a deer or a head of a wolf. Or rather, I forget the exact mythological origins. Gio, when you're watching the Trans Coal Miner, oh my god, pay me $100 and I'll watch it.
You want to watch
my usual fee.
You want to watch it on Drive Time?
We'll watch it on Drive Time. Yes, actually, we'll watch it on Drive Time this week or next week.
We're pretty booked out. We'll talk about it.
All right. There you go.
Also, sometimes people just want to put holes where there weren't any before.
Oh boy. Oh my god. Oh man. Anyways,
the term MK, and this is a footnote.
Well, it's applicable to serial killers, actually, too. It
is. Sometimes people
holes where there shouldn't be.
The term MKUltra, while actually just one of many code names used over the years by the U.S. intelligence community, is commonly used to refer to all CIA-sponsored research on mind control. Most people are naturally quite skeptical of the notion that someone's thoughts and actions can be controlled by unseen actors, particularly in Western culture, where the idea of free will is firmly indoctrinated. Theories of mind control are inimical to the omnipresent mantra that we are all responsible for our own actions. It is quite likely, then, that scenarios involving mind-controlled killers, whether assassins like Lee Harvey Oswald or Sirhan, or serial killers like Henry Lee Lucas or Charles Manson, will be summarily dismissed by many readers. Skeptics, though, should bear in mind that contrary to perceptions, mind control is not a fictional creation of novelists and Hollywood screenwriters. On the contrary, there exists a substantial paper trail establishing that the U.S. intelligence community has devoted a vast amount of both human and financial resources over a period of several decades to the study of mind control. Along the way, luminaries of numerous social sciences have been recruited and co-opted. Detailing all the techniques and procedures that have received attention from the Central Intelligence Agency and its brethren, unfortunately, is well beyond the scope of this book. It is possible, however, to provide a rough sketch of what mind control really is, a sketch that will, it is hoped, help to demystify a phenomenon that is not, as it turns out, nearly so esoteric as it may at first appear to be. Gio, how familiar are you with mind control?
I'm a bit familiar. Oh yeah, I'm a bit familiar. I've read quite a bit of literature. as I was, from a very early age ensconced in like this sort of coast to coast AM extended universe because my old man. I think what's very interesting there is that he's putting an ontological claim, or rather an epistemological claim out there, maybe an existential ontology of your sense of being in the world, that you are sort of an individual, that consciousness is a sort of solid state that is inhabited by an individual consciousness, and the sort of very mechanical, or how shall I say it, the machinic nature of this particular conspiracy around mind control, where the individual closed off consciousness is then being interfered with by a greater stimulus from the outside, is not really how consciousness works. And I think a lot of CIA spooks,
you're actually, well, and I think that they realized that as the technology improved.
Exactly.
They were like, oh, actually, everyone's always receiving.
Exactly.
Everyone's like an FCC compliant device. Like they always receive, they always take in signal, even if it's interference.
Right. Exactly. No, exactly. They realized a much more older mystical truth about human consciousness, that we are beings in the world, we are Dasein, we are thrown into the world, and there is a greater whole that we are engaged with constantly. So rather than the way, for example, the Manchurian Candidate presents it to be in film, where you are breaking down someone's, I mean, they tried this, of course, you're breaking down someone's consciousness on an individual level, and you're reprogramming them through different various methods and drugs and scripts. In actuality, to control people is to control their social gestalt, is to control the information that they consume, is to control the greater facticity of their life world itself. They need to re-engineer their life whole cloth. And so, as he's talking about with popular media in this book and other parapolitical books, when they talk about the culture industry and popular media and the mass media age, that is the real form of mind control, not this very mechanical and machinistic exchange of hacking into your brain like it's a computer program and then reprogramming the script in a very like individualistic and instrumental type of way. The actual root of mind control is more of like an initiatory existential process that is nefarious, but it's sort of like that one Terrence. I know Terrence McKenna, people speculate he also was a CIA asset, but that one Terrence McKenna talk he had, it was called Shamanistic or Schizophrenic, where he talks about how schizophrenic abilities were latent within shamanic abilities. But really, what any mind control, quote unquote, really is very similar to a lot of sort of like hermetical, Gnostic, mystical experiences.
Well, sure. I mean, yes. Like
all-encompassing nature of the subject is being consumed by something else. That's real.
Any initiatory experience actually does cause people to causes people to experience greater loyalty to whatever they're initiated into. I mean, it's why actually, like, it's why, in a very small sense, right? Like why having a wedding ceremony, right? Why having a wedding ceremony is important. And if you just go to the fucking courthouse, you're way more likely to get a divorce.
Right. But also when it comes to the age that the serial killer, can we say the word serial killer on YouTube?
I'm going to.
All right. So the way in which serial redactors,
you can say serial killers
in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and then peaked in the 70s and 80s. You have to, like, this is when people were becoming more disenchanted and rootless, and also at the same time subject to mass media and the culture industry at large. And America in the 70s, to me, is quite fascinating. Maybe because, like, my old man was, like, my parents were later boomers, and my old man was always talking about how great the 70s were, as like older boomers would talk about how great the 60s were. And, the 70s really was a very interesting time in the sense that a lot of public discourse was very hungry for genuine intellectualism, and a lot of great works of art and academic literature were made at this time. A lot of the New Age movement was advanced in the 70s. It wasn't the 60s. The 60s was more of the experiential, like sort of halcyon youth time, whereas the 70s is when the hippies all went to, and the Beats all went to grad school. And so they produced great works in the New Age genre. But also the 70s was depicted as this brutal and violent time in North America where people were more on edge and people were scared out of who could just burst through their living room door. Kind of similar to that.
Like the
that
fucking Kool-Aid Man.
Yeah, like, exactly. Like Richard Ramirez, the Kool-Aid Man. So it's very interesting how, and then you had Manson. There was this great short film in the VHS series about this like goth kid who realizes his father, who was a cop, was a serial killer, but he like gets these tapes. He has the psychic intuition, and they could see him killing these people by bursting through their doors, and like very, very similar to the Sinister series, like that type of lo-fi,
very similar to Psycho Cop.
Yeah,
the great 1989 schlock horror movie.
So the funny thing is that America was depicted as this destitute, economically depressed, violent, destructive society on the edge. And then like 1980s consumerism, like capitalism, machismo, Donald Trump golden arches type of society came over and like wiped that clean in America. You know, then the wall fell, and like the fucking new American century was here to stay. But a lot of that reality was sort of preparatory for what would come in later decades in the 90s and then the 2000s with the war on terror and so on and so forth. So in a lot of ways, like the serial killer phenomenon in the 50s, 60s, and 70s and 80s, they were then like later pushed into other things that did become more officialized. Like, why would I be a serial killer when I can go and take out Hajis in Iraq? You know what I mean? Like, it's so there's a lot of salient
because you don't get to take apart third worlders in the same ritualized way. In the same ritualized way, right?
True.
Yeah.
Sex Freakman, if you think Gio's paranoid now, you should have seen him a few years ago on Twitter. Bro is taping euphemisms and using leet speak on top of that. I've tried to calm down. I've tried to regulate myself. I've tried to become more concise, but also I'm kind of afraid of actually tweeting what I really believe on Twitter because it would upset a lot of people. But I do save that for paywall stuff. So I don't know. Tomorrow on Digital Archipelago, we're probably going to be talking about the usury thing, but Gio should lean into it just becoming incomprehensible. I remember getting trolled by Ernie leftists.
You should probably just start talking like you should probably start talking like a 2000, I don't know, circa 2007 4chan/B word filter is running on you right now.
Imagine yourself in a frozen forest.
Imagine yourself. Yes. Words being constantly changed into a thieves' cant. You unable to understand.
Yeah. Wasn't that in the Call of Duty game? You know, the Call of Duty games, they're mind control. They're like government psyops too, eh? Like
they were fun. I mean, there was also that game that was directly funded by the army, and they were like, actually, we're not good at this. We'll just start paying the game producers to inject our messaging.
Yeah. But anyways, I say all of this because in Programmed to Kill. Now, I haven't read the full book. I've read bits and pieces, but what McGowan does is he does give you the social context and the sort of greater philosophic work, believe it or not, that does go into serial killers and the phenomenon of serial killers. But like you were saying, Cap, like there is sort of like the problem of like agency and like giving these people, which I think a lot of parapolitics people, they do have a tendency to verge into like, you know, the glowies are like these omnipotent creatures that are above all human agency. But that's a fair criticism. But anyways, go ahead. I've been rambling.
Randall Shirker also said, I think this form of mind control was useful as a proof of concept, and then figuring out the means to do it to the mass scale was a real innovation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, of course, and just to remind people, since this is the beginning of season 3, The thesis of this show is that the MKUltra technology eventually stopped being used for acute control and was instead generalized over media apparatuses.
Well, that could, yeah, that's true. No, that's and the thing is that it's not even directly that, like, people they talk about people talk about, for example, Operation Mockingbird and COINTELPRO,
Mhm.
and there's definitely a lot of validity to that, but it's more so that similar to like Aquino with Mind Wars, it's not necessarily that the CIA is going into every media studio there is, and every video game studio, and every art house, and every like film directors guild, and saying like, "Here's what you're gonna do." It's just that these tools are so damn effective that people will literally do it for free in places like Hollywood,
Oh, for
academia.
sure.
Yeah, so um,
Yeah, and also it is imprecise, right?
it's very imprecise.
And I actually, and that's actually like a one thing that I think we need to keep in mind is that this technology is imperfect, and because it's an attempt to affect a complex system, especially when deployed at scale, there
Yeah.
are going to be unintended consequences.
Oh, exactly.
And
Yeah.
so, personally, I am inclined to believe that serial killers are mostly unintended consequences, and that
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ability of the government to profit, in terms of power, funding, things like that,
Right.
from them that's just the strategy of being the government. You
Yeah.
capitalize on every crisis. So
Right.
the fact that another segment of the government produced serial killers because of a mind control program doesn't mean that, who the fuck ever isn't going, whatever local DA isn't going to grandstand and try to advance his career, right?
Right.
So it doesn't
Well,
mean he was involved in it.
Thomas had a great series of Burden about Richard Ramirez and about Son of Sam, where they talk about how there may have been a group of occultists that were doing this, or Satanists or whatever. No, I agree, Randall Shakur. Like there definitely is a lot of direct glow in the dark funding and script reviewing in media. But I'm just saying that a lot of these techniques are so well known and popular among cultural creators that it's not necessary anymore for the government to just go in there and tell them what to do. Like, plus a lot of like these people do it for free because that's just the nature of power. It's like certain take sellers will just, and here's the thing, nobody's immune from this. We talk about big budget studios and Hollywood and the mainstream media, but there are like take sellers that are like by any means grassroots, just like, content people that also employ the same techniques on their audiences. Now, whether they're being funded by foreign governments or the government is another story, but these techniques are pretty damn effective. I'll give you a good example. You know how
Geo, if you're going to run a word filter, just FYI, Softly Crumbling Castle in the chat has offered cereal kernels.
Cereal kernels. There you go. Oh, that's a good one, actually.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Cereal kernels. Yeah. Yeah. It's like instead of prawn, they say corn.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is, like, I'll give you a good example. Now, I'm not calling out anyone specifically, but you could probably get what I mean. There are certain ones that they'll do the crowd killing thing where they'll dump on their fans and they'll hate on them and they'll blow them off. But yet they get more and more super chats for doing that. Because when you're engaged in that parasocial relationship and you're giving them negative stimuli, even just to troll you, that translates directly into money. I can never figure that out.
Negging is part of
negging.
DDD. Yeah. Negging is part of DDD.
Yeah.
Right. Like you have to alternate harshness and reward.
Exactly. Very little reward and a lot of harshness. A lot of beatings and very few rice cakes. Okay, that's how you.
Very small amounts of aftercare. That's right. No cuddling. No cuddling for the bottom bitch.
I have a theory actually that a lot of glow in the dark stuff was actually learned in these like BDSM dungeons and like sadomasochism bars and like gay Leatherman bars. A lot of the stuff that was, I mean, I know a lot of people in like the political left that go talk about this don't like to talk about it, but yeah, a lot of techniques were perfected in these like alternative quote unquote sexuality culture places in the 60s and 70s and 80s. And I mean, think of it. It's like this stuff is ancient, you know. People talk about Marquis de Sade, but a lot of those techniques also go way back to the ancient world as well.
Everyone's always like, how do I get hired at the CIA? How do I get hired into one of these programs? Well, you see, what you do is you go to the Leatherman bar in Quantico and you whip a guy's ass real good. And then he's like, you know what, son, I think I've got a job for you.
I like the cut of your jib.
I like the cut of your assless chaps. Anyways, let's move on. The basic methodology of mind control was revealed many decades ago by George Estabrooks, a prominent psychologist and hypnotist who worked under contract to American intelligence agencies. In his book, Hypnotism, first published in 1943, Estabrooks teased his audience by noting that the intelligent reader will sense that much more is withheld than has been told. While that was undoubtedly an accurate assessment, Estabrooks nevertheless did reveal enough to allow an informed reader to construct a reasonably accurate picture of the fundamentals of mind control. The degree to which any given person is susceptible to being mind controlled is a direct function of that person's susceptibility to what are known as dissociative states. According to the psychiatric community, dissociative states or dissociative let's see. Oh, crap.
Dissociative to all of the following.
No. The problem is that this EPUB version is jacked up.
Dissociative?
Dissociative disorders include amnesia, fugue state, and what used to be called multiple personality disorder, but is now generally referred to as dissociative identity disorder.
Right. Now you can see where the cheese pizza stuff comes in, by the way.
What do you mean?
What's the number one guaranteed method for producing this in somebody when the time that they're young? Let's put it that way.
Oh, no. Tremendous amounts of abuse. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but of a particularly actual nature that's the key.
Actual, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some sort of statutory, no, it's actually just regular,
Yeah.
But like the thing is that, okay, so we open up the Podesta basement, right?
Right.
And we find all of these trafficked children. Like, was the plan to turn all of them into assassins? Like, what was he's going to turn them all, he's going to give them back to their parents and they're all going to be Assassin's Creed some point in the future,
Maybe some of them, but I think the vast majority of it was probably just for their personal sick pleasure.
Yeah. But now you have an operant explanation and a perversion explanation, right?
Right, exactly.
So what yeah. Where do the twain meet?
There was that one woman that claims that she was kidnapped by the CIA when she was 9 years old and she was kept in cages, and I forget her name, but she's a very famous case.
Gypsy Rose?
No. Gypsy Rose was like, that wasn't any government. I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, yeah, she was not a government thing. Yeah.
No, but there was another prominent one. This was in the 60s and 70s. And then I remember in the 90s, they had these interviews with her. And I believe Ted Gunderson interviewed her. She claimed that she also experienced incredible abuse, but also for the purpose of seduction techniques towards CIA targets. And
they were making a
Lolita,
a black swan.
A black swan Lolita. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But also she experienced horrific abuse. She talked about how her and her sister or her and her cousin or something were kept in cages and were preyed upon by different men. And she is a very infamous case. I mean, I know her Wikipedia page calls her a kook and all that, but Kathy O'Brien. Yes. Thank you, Randall Shakur. Kathy O'Brien. That's who I'm talking about.
It's Shirker.
Shirker.
Not Shakur.
Not like Tupac Shakur. Speaking of CIA,
do you think? Okay, hold on. So, do you think that Do you okay, well this goes back to how do you find the people to do these things, because I bet there aren't just like a whole bunch of CIA operatives who are like really into pedophilia. I mean, I'd be sure there are, if there are anywhere.
Or that you could shake a stick at. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if you're trying to run a program, right, one of your HR filters has to be enjoys raping children, right? And so, or alternatively, is there like, are all of these operatives like in the lunchroom afterwards, like crying about what they have to do? It's just like, they got me on that shift next time. I don't know if I can take this job. I'm going back to pump gas. That's it.
Some of them, they do experience a lot of trauma because they're goaded into it. They have to do it. I think even the Flesh Simulator video talked about it. But there's been texts where some CIA agents, like the Clive Owens case, they talk about regret and and not even just like the cheese pizza stuff, but also even just the
just the mundane stuff.
Yeah. Torturing people and giving them drugs and like even like dosing people with LSD when they're not ready for it and they don't know what's happening. Like that's,
oh my God,
that's fucking evil. Like, let's be real. That guy died going out the window. Like it's imagine someone spikes you with a heroic dose of LSD. Just out of the blue, and you have no.
Sounds like college. I used to do acid tests. With my buddies in college.
Yeah, but
like we would try to dose each other.
Did they not?
What?
Did they know you were doing it to them?
No. We basically there were 3 times where all of us got our hands on some and split it up, and we're basically like, all right, we're now playing assassin.
Oh my God. Holy crap. Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh my
God. There was one time when I had to where like it was done to me, and I then had to do like a quite large amount of schoolwork, which I did complete.
Oh wow. That's insane.
Yeah. So
Bird of Good Omen. I remember that video. The guy had a cigarette. And it was like very lo-fi, like early digital camera. He's like, yeah, man, like the drug dealer, he like just squirted a whole bottle of acid, like a whole vial, like a eyedropper into my mouth.
I mean, that is basically murder.
Yeah. And he's like, after 3 days, I'm like, am I ever not going to be high? I remember that guy. It went viral like a decade ago on YouTube. I remember that. Oh man. See, I love being a personality on the internet because I can recollect stuff I remember when I was younger, being like a terminally online teenager, and other people who were terminally online teenagers, like, yeah, I remember that too, Gio. I'm like, man, I remember
Gio.
I remember that video. But yeah, that's like so no, there was a lot of agents that did experience some degree of regret, but then there's a lot of like, depending on what they're doing, of course, an advanced intelligence agency program would be selecting for heartless psychopaths. So,
sure.
Yeah.
You really do not want to fuck with those HR ladies.
Yeah.
The CIA HR ladies are truly a terrifying bunch. One would have to guess, I suppose. Let's see here.
I think it's the next page over.
Yeah. Let's see. All of these terms describe the same basic phenomenon. A person who is seemingly in control of his or her actions over a given time period is unable at a later date to recall or account for those actions. As with any category of mental illness, there is no dividing line that separates those who are diagnosed with dissociative disorders from those who are normal. Virtually everyone Thomas Sazpilled. Virtually everyone possesses the ability to experience dissociative states. Many people, for example, are familiar with the phenomenon sometimes referred to as driving on autopilot highway hypnosis, aka. The scenario generally plays out as follows. You suddenly snap out of it just as you were pulling into your parking space at work, and you realize to your horror that you can't remember anything since leaving your house. If this has happened to you, then you have experienced being in a dissociative state. In essence, you drove to work while in a fugue state and you later had amnesia. In a similar vein, it could be said that an alter personality, which you have no conscious awareness of, drove you to work. In any event, it is clear that someone piloted your car to work in a safe and reasonable manner, and it was someone other than you. Many people, Geo, does this happen to you? You don't go to work.
Oh, well, no, maybe. No, sometimes like you look at your watch and like you realize, when I go up painting, it happens a lot. I'll realize like an hour or 2 hours went by, but that's like a different purposeful meditative type of thing. Whereas like this is just being lulled into going through the motions.
This is truly lost time. Yeah. They also had that theory about the UFO phenomenon being CIA mind control, that like the lost time would account for that. But then I don't know. I mean, I know it's very unpopular, but I actually do believe in UFOs. I know it's unpopular in the internet nowadays, but yeah. I mean, the thing is that on our side of things, the most popular explanation for objects in the sky is angels and demons.
Yeah. That too.
I'm completely. I believe angels and demons are real, and I'm open to the possibility of other life existing in the universe. I'm also open to some of those objects also being just technology that is not publicly known yet. So
or like literal CIA mind control. Yeah.
Oh, like you mean like some of the I mean if I was abducting someone from the side of the highway, right? Mm-hmm. For the purposes of running a mind control experiment on them, I would definitely try to implant something silly, right?
Well,
I definitely go for the whole alien thing.
Well, you know what's funny is that a lot of gate kids that were like kids, like special kid, like not special kid, I mean, like highly gifted, special, the real special kids, the gifted kids that were part of the gate program. They said an odd similarity in different states was they would always have these thought probe, like hypothetical questions that revolved around some kind of grotesque act by an alien. Ironically enough. So
I was gated and I don't remember that.
You were a gate kid?
Yeah.
No fucking way. You really?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah,
what,
but some of them
a gifted being in a gifted program?
Yeah, but do you know it was for sure a gate program?
Oh, maybe not.
Right. Yeah.
So specifically, what does the GATE acronym stand for?
Gifted I forget the exact acronym, but it was a legitimate program that was being run by the intelligence agencies to sort of cultivate people that would then later go on into high level government and academic and science positions and so on and so forth. But they said a very common similarity was having it was gifted and talented or something like that.
All right. Okay. So the gifted and talented education was run in multiple states.
Yes.
Right.
California was a big one.
One of those states is the state that I grew up in. So.
Oh, then you would have been a gay kid. Yeah. So
shut the fuck up, Gio. You were a gay kid. Fuck. Jeez. God damn it.
No. See, they thought it was the opposite in school. They thought I was actually in the special. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to go into trauma. No, they did. They thought it was stupid.
They put Gio in the helmet.
I had to go to the resource room every single day to do extra exercises. But anyways, I had quote unquote learning disabilities. So no, but yeah, a common theme in certain gate programs was that they would run these questions about aliens, like in breaking into somebody's house or aliens doing something weird. A lot of it centered around aliens. I didn't ride the short bus, but I wasn't that bad, but like on the border. Gio, why would you tell on yourself like that? No, because then later when I went to high school, they discovered I was actually a gifted kid and I'd been pigeonholed by the education system wrongly for so long because I have a form of like
I mean, according to this, it's a good thing that's the only hole that you got from the education system.
True. No, it's like a form of dyslexia I think I have, where like for example, when I was a kid, they would have like they would have like multiple choice questions. They got so frustrated with me that they would get a student teacher to write down the answers for me that I would tell the student teacher because I refused to write it down. And I would keep saying to the teachers, this is what my mother said, I would keep saying to the teachers that it's all in my head. Why would I write it down on paper? So I have this thing where if you ask me a question, it's the completed answer is in my head, but I have to, when I'm actually writing it down, I have to go back and like write down the whole sentence, and then I'll have like things that like cross and jumble together. And they say it's a form of dyslexia. So they later discovered that actually I belonged with the special kids. Like, you know, like I belonged with the more talented kids. Yeah, exactly. Literally born to be a podcaster. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh boy.
Yes, the math. Yeah, so that was a part of it actually, Crit. I had this idea, this metaphysical idea, that if I just left my homework in my locker, that it wouldn't apply to me. That it wouldn't be real.
What are you, a fucking cargo cultist?
Yeah, exactly. Like I thought that like, and so my old man.
See, every gifted little subversive child has just a little bit of like Jewish tricks in their brain. They're like trying to figure out a way to get one over on God.
Well, maybe it's the Southern Italian in me, the special, the phenotype. But yeah, exactly. So all that was missing was him vlogging. No, if I was a Zoomer, I would have had it made, man. They would have like put me on a vlog to do all my testing, you know?
Oh my God.
But yeah, so they thought I was like slow, but then they discovered in high school that I was quite brilliant.
And, no, he was fast the whole time. It's like the tortoise in the hare.
Oh my God. You know what's funny? I'm actually grateful for that experience because it means that I wasn't like a gifted kid. People debate if I was burning out, but like I wasn't like, your typical like gifted kid that then gets later like humbled and later on in life that they're not that special.
I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that happening.
No, but then like I was grateful for the fact that I had no expectations placed on me. Everyone thought I was stupid. And so like I avoided that thing of like, I'm a special kid, I'm gifted, and then life catches up with me and it's fucking bullshit. So it's like I avoided gifted kid burnout. I had a gifted kid glow up later in high school. It's like I was grateful for that. So anyways, I'm sorry, Cap, if I'm bringing something up.
Sex Freakman says, I like how between Sandy and Geo, LMD is just Cap kidnapping people who barely escape from some mind rape program. I am your handler.
Oh my God. Wait, Cap,
I am your handler this week. What?
You were gifted kid burnout?
No, I didn't burn out.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's good.
Yeah, no, I'm doing just
but
fine.
You must have known people that like gifted kids in your program that burned out.
No, actually, I mean, wait, hold on. Let me think. The one who I thought was going to burn out is now like literally a physicist working in academia.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. But he is the one who I would have expected to burn out, but actually he's doing just fine.
I think gifted kid burnout probably mostly applies to humanities majors such as myself.
Oh, really? I mean, I was a humanities major. I just don't work in my field, just like everyone who has a humanities major.
There could but I say that, but there probably is like there probably are like stem cells that burn out. I guarantee you there probably is.
Oh, for sure. Actually, yeah. You know what? The one who I know who I'm aware is doing the most poorly is a math guy. And it's because he developed like actual bipolar in his 20s. Yeah. So to the degree that actual bipolar exists, he started having delusions. So even if bipolar is not real, delusions are a real thing that can occur. So
yeah,
that's right.
Happen at any age on Twitter, exactly. Like anyone can melt down at any age. It's true. Pac-Man respecter. But anyway, shall we move on?
Yes, let's shall.
Before we draw up any more childhood trauma.
That's right. Well, I mean, we'll dredge up some from the audience. We'll do a call-in show for childhood trauma.
Oh, that'd be excellent.
Just like your friend Catherine. So,
oh man, yeah, exactly. Yeah. That'd be great.
Many people are also familiar with another common example of dissociative state. You are deep in thought and oblivious to everything around you, possibly working on the solution to one of the world's great mysteries, when suddenly your silent meditation is interrupted, perhaps by an unexpected noise or by someone calling your name or tapping your shoulder. As you snap out of it, you suddenly realize, much to your dismay, that you can't remember what it was that you were so deep in thought about just moments before. If you've ever had a similar experience, or if you are familiar with the dreamlike state that some people attain just before falling asleep or while engrossed in a book or television program, then you have experienced being in a dissociative state of consciousness. While the ability to dissociate is likely universal or nearly so, some people are clearly more susceptible to dissociative states than are others. There is little question that someone's innate ability to dissociate can be greatly enhanced, although not necessarily by ethical means. The most severe of the dissociative disorders, multiple personality disorder or dissociative identity disorder, is in almost all cases created by a psychological trauma so severe that the traumatic episodes cannot be integrated into the experiences of the core personality.
Mm-hmm.
By far the most common cause of multiple personality disorder is early childhood trauma, usually but not always, resulting from horrific abuse by a parent or other adult guardian. Dr. Frank Putnam noted in 1989 that he was struck by the quality of extreme sadism that is reported by most MPD victims. Many multiples have told me of being sexually abused by a group of people, or being forced into prostitution by family members, or of being offered as sexual enticement to their mother's boyfriends. After one has worked with a number of MPD patients, it becomes obvious that severe, sustained, and repetitive child abuse is a major element in the creation of MPD. Ugh.
Yeah. The early history of psychoanalysis is replete with this. You know that Sigmund Freud, he had to basically revise all of his theories as due to censorship of the nature of sexual abuse that was going on in Vienna among the upper classes at the time, which was primarily the pool of his patients, where he basically rigged it to where the Oedipal complex is almost like victim blaming. To where, you know what I mean? Yeah. Well, actually, there's childhood sexuality, and the Oedipal complex comes out through the mirror and then the anal stages.
Actually, libidinal. Yeah. Actually, yeah. Okay. Is the basis of development?
Yeah. It was reverse engineering a lot of the insights he originally gleaned to sort of take the pressure off the higher classes of people that he was psychoanalyzing, and to say that, oh, actually, well, this is inherent ability in all children, blah, 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 blah. When he actually discovered that sexual abuse among the upper classes were very common, and it wasn't just the malady of the lower classes. And so Freud, in a way, participated in like a grand, I mean, this is Thomas Saw's du jour, participated in the grand psyop of psychoanalysis to recast what was actually going on. And so, yeah, and I think even Jung was like sort of, he was attuned to this, and that's why he selectively distanced himself from the Vienna school later on, you know. He slowly but surely distanced himself. So there's a great book on it. I forget. Someone close to me was reading it. But yeah. So from the beginning, the very foundation of psychiatry and psychoanalysis, you have essentially the creation of a psyop on what was actually going on in terms of childhood sexual abuse and predation. And very dark stuff, very dark stuff. But yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dr. Deirdre Bartlett, writing in 2001 for Psychology Today, offered a similar observation. Dissociators have the following traits in common. Many such subjects reported a history of child abuse. Although some remembered this directly, some had been told by others that they had been battered. Other dissociators who had not been abused had suffered childhood trauma, such as prolonged, painful medical conditions, and before the age of 10, experienced the deaths of their parents. As mental health professionals have long recognized, the normal reaction to highly stressful situations is what is known as the fight or flight response. Children, however, typically lack the ability to either fight off or flee from their attackers and abusers. This is particularly true, of course, for very young children. The human brain, that wonderfully resilient organ, therefore reacts in the best way that it can under these circumstances. It allows the child to mentally flee from the situation. When the abuse is of an extreme and sustained nature, the brain's response is to build a virtual wall around the traumatic experiences by creating a separate and distinct alter personality to deal with current and future episodes of abuse. Although MPD and DID is a disorder listed in the DSM-4, the veritable Bible of the psychiatric community, the public generally looks upon, implying they don't use the real one. They don't. The public generally looks upon the notion of multiple personality with a healthy dose of skepticism, a skepticism encouraged by a news and entertainment media apparatus that generally mocks and ridicules the condition, and by not a insignificant number of psychologists and psychiatrists who deny the existence of MPD and DID. Strangely enough, many of the most visible and vocal members of the denial crowd tend to be psychologists and psychiatrists who have received funding from the CIA.
Interesting.
I mean,
yeah.
Okay.
Nothing wrong there.
Nothing wrong there. Yeah. I can't think of any issues there. In November 2001, researchers in Melbourne, Australia, conducted what the Herald Sun described as a world-first study of MPD. The goal of the study was to help resolve the dispute within the mental health community. The conclusion reached by the researchers, at least one of whom had been skeptical of the disorder before working on the project, was that individuals who suffer multiple personality disorder are not faking their alter egos. The study involved comparing the brainwave patterns of people claiming to be suffering from the disorder with brainwave patterns of actors portraying the condition. While the actors gave outwardly convincing performances, the researchers found that there were distinct changes in the brain of sufferers as they switched personalities. All those changes were not detected in the brains of those who were just acting the part. So how does all of this relate to the concept of mind control? In the simplest possible terms, what the term mind control refers to is the process of first enhancing an unwitting subject's natural ability to dissociate, creating in essence the condition of multiple personality disorder, and then controlling that subject's dissociative states by creating one or more alter personalities that are effectively under the control of others and that are unknown to the core personality. Yeah, so how do you make a Manchurian candidate?
Right. Have we considered that sex freedom? Have we considered that the actors are just bad? Well, I guess, they couldn't get like a top tier.
How good of an actor are you getting for the I don't know.
They couldn't get Daniel Day-Lewis.
I bet Daniel Day-Lewis's brainwave patterns are all fucking wacky when he's portraying a role.
Yeah.
That guy's an all-timer. I'm sure his brainwaves are fucking immaculate. No one's gonna be able to tell. No,
but that's very interesting how even the brainwave patterns can switch to a different wavelength and not be known to the quote-unquote core identity. But what is the core identity? Is the core identity something that has just been a conglomeration of the facticities of your life, that you were born to a certain name, that you were given a certain identity, that you had certain experiences. But if you are disturbed on a fundamental level with multiple personalities, then is it just some of them have reported that the core identity um is just the, what do they call it, the handler personality, like the Tard Wrangler personality, the one that like wrangles all the other personalities. They, you know what I mean? They say like there's always a
Tard
wrangler.
Wrangler.
The Tard Wrangler
There's
personality.
always a Tard Wrangler.
Yeah. So
if there's one thing I've learned.
Yeah, life is just like navigating a series of Tard Wranglers. That's what life is.
Sometimes you're the Wrangler, sometimes you're the Wrangled.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the super egoic personality is the one that's doing the sort of like navigating of all the other personalities. It's the keeper. Some psychiatrists have used the term the keeper of the personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll tell you the stories about the different ones, and then they'll say, well, this one guy that I don't even know who he is, and I don't know nothing about it. He doesn't hang out with the other ones. And I guess anthropomorphizing the different personalities is a way of like navigating the reality of it. So, but
how do we square multiple personality disorder with the essentially biological basis of personality and intelligence, right, and like executive function and things like that? Yeah.
Well, I think that personality.
What we really need is a twin study. We need some twins, and then one of them needs to get raped like crazy.
I think the CIA has already done this.
I'm sure the CIA has already done the twin studies.
Yeah.
They've already done them.
No, but I think there is a biological basis to one's personality and one's mental character. But I do think that a lot of it is largely socially constructed. And so if anything, like the multiple personality disorders would strengthen, like at least this study in 2001, I don't know if there's been subsequent studies, would strengthen that hypothesis, because it is a literal visible brain chemistry change in the wiring of the brain when these personalities come out. So it could be that it's activating different latent abilities within the human mind. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's, these debates between nature and nurture are largely, to me, irrelevant, because I think, like all things in life, there's sort of like a middle way between them that gives you the actual more or less accurate, true, warranted belief on what the real thing is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that, but what do you think, Cap, when you ask that question? What do you think?
I just area of inquiry is what I think.
Oh, like, well, I think it's a bit of both. I mean, but then again, if it is a biological phenomenon, I mean, some people question whether depression or mental illness even is a real hardwired biological phenomenon. And I know that idea has become very popular in recent years. And there definitely is something to it, but I wouldn't want to. I mean, obviously, with very severe cases of schizophrenia and depression, I think there's something going on biologically there too.
I'm somewhat of a Zazian as far as yeah. I mean, I think that people also don't. I also think that people don't recognize that that mental technologies exist, and I don't just mean things like MKUltra. I mean like ways of actually thinking about your own thoughts, or methods of dealing with conflict that are actual mental technologies that can be learned, that are real skills, and people just don't have those. Unfortunately, like pop psychology could be teaching those, but doesn't, because we're a spiritually bereft people. So.
No, exactly. It's very funny because the very early manifestations of the like manosphere pickup artistry. What was the guy's name? Me and Catherine actually interviewed him, Ross Young. Okay. He I think that's what his name was. This like predates Mystery. But of course, like some people say the first real pickup artist book was from that pimp. What was his name? Herman Slim. Or something like that. But he wrote this book, the very first in the 1980s, about pickup artistry. And the reason he knew this was because he had a friend who was a neuroscientist who was basically developing the theory of neurolinguistic programming.
Sure.
And he said all pickup artistry, all methods of persuasion is just neurolinguistic programming.
No, yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, sales techniques,
laws of attraction.
Trying to make people believe that. I mean, a sale is done when someone believes it's their idea to enter into the deal, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the killer, right?
Right.
But no, that's definitely true. And I mean, even negging is an attempt a very soft attempt to apply the DDD method.
Yes. So, yeah. But all these methods also relate to I believe, a spiritual core that was around since the dawn of human consciousness. And there has always been people, shamans, priestess, you name it, witches, wizards, who had the ability to basically utilize a system of magic to influence people. But I mean, the problem I have is that a lot of people have a very like materialistic explanation of magic, and they'll be like, well, it's all people doing like neurolinguistic programming or influencing people. And that's like all shamanism, all hermeticism, all mysticism. Now, I do think there is a spiritual basis to it. There is a metaphysics there, but I do think that a lot of these methods were garnered and utilized over the aeons to basically influence groups of people. And
sure.
I think it's like there's a bit of both going on, but I think that these techniques had been vulgarized to appeal to people on very base, guttural, instinctual levels. Rather, it's like we've taken, like most, if you've read your Gunyan, like most things, you take a sacred entity and you make it profane. And so you can influence whole civilizations and their belief system and their capitulation towards the gods or God, or you could, want to pick up chicks. It's like the same current runs through those things.
It's the same picture.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, picking up chicks could be a spiritual thing. You never know. So, I mean, no, I'm
flirty fishing. There are many examples of that actually, but
use DDD to grow my OF.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Yeah. No, it's true. Like there are people, they have like whole tutorials. Like Ayala girl, this is why she's so evil, by the way. She has a whole tutorial where you.
I love that somehow Geo has figured out a way to get e-girl conversation into.
Oh, I know.
LMD.
Oh my god! But it's true because she has a whole tutorial teaching like young 18-year-old girls how to like start their own OF and how to like influence guys. I mean, that's what Andrew Tate was doing. He had a whole roster of them that were like, and he'd have like Indians that were pretending to be these women, like messaging, and so he had it down pat where he would exploit these vulnerable young men, these lonely men, and by giving these OnlyFans cam girls techniques to influence people. Like there are people that do this. Like even Roosh V, before he like totally went off the rails and he denounced all of that, he like in his books he like talked about this. So I mean, a lot of it was like poverty tourism, where you'd go to like an economically vulnerable country with a lot of hot women, like
Great
in
idea.
Eastern Europe. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So a lot of it was not like real technique, but a lot of it was just essentially.
Did you know that women care about money? If you're rich relatively, then
yeah.
It's,
I mean, it was borderline trafficking, but like
Is that not what he's in? Is he in prison right now? I don't know. I don't follow.
I think he went. I think he's still around. Andrew Tate.
No, I don't follow the Taters.
Yeah. Me neither. Allegedly.
Allegedly. Allegedly. That's what you say. That's what you say as they throw you off the roof of the Empire State Building. Allegedly.
Anyways.
All right. Let's see.
The real red pill is that pickup art. Sorry, Cap.
Yeah.
The real red pill is that poo tactics work on men several times better than women.
Yeah, it's really easy for a woman to pick up a man.
That's true.
Who has ever said otherwise?
I thought he meant like gay men.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure he meant women. But
or I thought he meant like selling tutorials to men about being a pickup artist.
What is it like? Is tutorial mode in pickup artist like go fuck a guy?
No,
like, go install Grindr, have a conversation. You will have. Yeah.
Oh, he did mean gay man.
Sex Freakman clarifies. I did mean gay men.
Oh yeah, yeah. But
do you need? I'm convinced that no one could possibly need technique for that.
No.
All right.
No, there's a technique. There's a technique.
You have to oh really? Oh really?
You have to appeal to the rape fetish from what they've. No, I don't know personally.
Oh, you know.
How do you know? This is.
Where's this information coming from, Gio?
There's a lot of gay men in Canada.
Cite your source. Cite your source. Is this why they call you Giant, Gio?
Mr. Benelli, I need a source for this. Who is the alt-righter banging twinks? Was that Jack Donovan? No, but I'm saying like from what gay men have said in public records and podcasts and so on and so forth, they do have like there is like an order or a rank based on what your proclivities are and your body type, and there is like
what I'm going to dissociate if we continue talking about this.
All right. I'm not gay. I'm not gay.
I'm not gay. I just know things.
If you see my Twitter activity, you've seen some of the e-girls I've Googled over the years before my GF. You know I am not gay. So
I know you're not gay.
All right.
I know in my heart you are not a gay man.
No, the guy that went on jail for meth and now. Oh, Christopher Cantwell. Oh my god. Oh my god. Let's not. Man. Anyways, I could go on to some deep lore, but let's not. Never beating the allegations.
All right. Can this really be done? Is mind control a real phenomenon or merely the product of the fertile imaginations of various conspiracy theorists and self-described survivors? The answer to that question lies in the answers to several other questions, beginning with, do dissociative states occur naturally in the human species? As anyone who has ever driven their car to work on autopilot or been caught daydreaming or spacing out can testify, the answer is yes, although the vast majority of people would not normally use the term dissociative state to describe the experience. Can the naturally occurring ability to dissociate be enhanced? The answer here also appears to be yes, albeit with the caveat that enhancing that ability generally requires the infliction of severe trauma, preferably during the vulnerable childhood years. Strange use of the word preferably. Would the CIA and other U.S. intelligence agencies be restrained morally or ethically from inflicting such trauma?
Nope. As we know,
how this question is answered depends largely upon the individual reader's political orientation, the level of awareness of national and world events. Serious students of covert operation know that the CIA has a long and very sordid history of sponsoring countless assassinations, civilian massacres, violent coups, and barbaric torture and interrogation centers. And that is just the short list. This bloody and very well documented record suggests that there is little, if anything, that the CIA will not attempt to justify in the name of national security. Mm-hmm. Documents released through the Freedom of Information Act requests had revealed that, at the very least, the agency has not shied away from funding and sponsoring studies in which very young children have been dosed with LSD continuously for several weeks. If we accept that dissociation is a real and naturally occurring human ability, and that the tendency to dissociate can be enhanced, and that the intelligence community's hands are not tied by ethical concerns, then the final and most critical question becomes, can enhanced dissociative states, once created, be controlled.
Mm-hmm.
George Estabrooks was clearly convinced that that was indeed the case. He claimed that once a person's core personality had been split, it was then possible to control one or more of the alter personalities without the conscious awareness of the primary personality. This process, according to Estabrooks, allowed the intelligence community to create super spies, unwitting agents who were willing to follow any orders unquestioningly. Among other duties, these super spies made ideal couriers since they could feed sensitive information while in a controlled dissociative state and thereafter have no conscious awareness that they were transporting important data. Johnny Mnemonic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Even under torture, the super spy would reveal nothing, for as far as he or she was aware, there was nothing to reveal. Someone at the receiving end who was familiar with the super spy's programming, however, could readily extract the information, after which the super spy would remain blissfully unaware that a mission had been successfully completed. As dubious as Estabrooks' scenario may first appear to be, it is not so very different from the common phenomenon of driving on autopilot. Let us imagine that you have managed once again to find yourself at work with no idea how you got there. You can remember nothing beyond pulling out of your driveway. So you decide out of curiosity to pay a visit to a skilled hypnotist who succeeds in putting you under, so to speak. While in the hypnotic trance, another term for a dissociative state, you would be able to relate to the hypnotist and anyone else in the room all the mundane details of your drive to work. Once brought back to a normal state of consciousness, however, you would still have no conscious memory of your drive to work, unless instructed otherwise by the hypnotist. You would have served, in essence, as a super spy. All that is missing from the equation is the element of control. And how would that control be attained? Estabrooks shied away from the details, only alluding to severe psychic torture that is required to split a person's core personality and then exert control over the alter personalities that are created. The trauma is often referred to euphemistically as a form of hypnotism.
Enhanced interrogation. You remember the GWAT?
Yeah. We also, that same group of friends, we did a party where we beer boarded each other.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Where was your dorm at fucking West Point?
Wouldn't you like to know, little Geo?
Oh my God.
Yeah, no.
Was your what do they call it? Apprenticeship at like Boston Dynamics?
Nice.
You know, Boston Dynamics are essentially just a CIA company, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Anyways,
the next, you know what we should. I've got an idea for an activity at the next OGC conference. Anyway.
Oh my God.
Anyways.
See. No, but you remember that, eh? Like the enhanced interrogation.
Oh yeah, sure. Enhanced interrogation.
Like it's fucking weasel word. Like it was, I wonder though, like I think like a lot of people certain people have come after me. I remember when I was saying about like what the CIA was doing, for example, in Nicaragua and funding all these death squads. But then I guess like a pure, like, how shall I say, like a bloodless subjective analysis would be like, well, America does have to control its sphere of influence in Latin America, blah, blah, blah. But then again, I'm like, well, that's kind of, I don't know, it does rub me the wrong way on a very deep level. And I think like...
What else rubs you the wrong way on a very deep level, Gio?
Well, no, no, but I mean, like, a lot of the stuff that was happening during the Iraq and Afghanistan war, like... Yeah. First of all, the justifications for both of them were kind of bullshit to begin with, but, like, did they even do studies if the intelligence they were getting from torture was actually reliable? Or was not, or is notoriously unreliable because you are torturing somebody?
I mean, it also depends on the quality of the interrogator, let's say.
Right. That's true. That was the problem with Abu Ghraib, because the guy, the woman, and
they just had a bunch of fucking retards.
Yeah, they had a bunch of retards, but it was like an outlaw mud show type of thing. They weren't doing it the way that like actually trained CIA.
What the fuck is an outlaw mud show?
Oh, sorry. That's okay. It's a wrestling.
Is this a wrestling?
Term.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes. It's a wrestling term for like a rival, like fly by night company by a scumbag promoter. That's like back in the territory days, they would compete with an actual territory show. And the reason they called these like lesser indie promotions outlaw mud shows is because it was sort of like Jim Cornette goes into this. It harkened back to the origins of wrestling in the circus, where it was more of like an early version of a spectacle. And the reason they would call them outlaw mud shows is because not only were they outlaw in the sense that they were
outside of the territory system,
outside of the territory structure, but they would have them in like literal dirt parking lots. And so it would rain, it would still be muddy, but also it would imply like a low quality spectacle. And this is where you get the birth of deathmatch wrestling, where they would use like weapons and barbed wire. You'd have some guy wrestling a bear, or in Florida, famously in the
gator
60s,
wrestling, please.
Yes, they had gator wrestling. Now, of course,
Sick.
they would. I mean, of course, like a lot of animal wrestling is very cruel. They would like pluck the teeth out of the gator. So, like, but of course, the fans that are like,
I mean, a fucking
drunk.
alligator without any teeth is still a fucking alligator.
Alligator, yeah, exactly. yeah.
I mean, I feel like the bite force alone is going to be a problem.
Remember that one line in The Simpsons? They had Chief Wiggum, and they should have a whole miniseries of that. It was Chief Wiggum and Principal Skinner. They were detectives in Louisiana, and he goes, next time, that was a warning. Next alligator won't be corked. That was funny, you know. Oh man, but yeah, that's the term. I like the term outlaw mud show to imply like a lower quality spectacle type of thing, you know. So the guys at
Pac-Man Respecter, I do know who Jim Cornette is because I did grow up watching WWF.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, so the guys at Abu Ghraib, the women and the guy there, they were total outlaw mud showcases. They didn't know, like, they were just doing it for their own sick pleasure.
So you're saying, so yeah, so
a real
you're saying they were outlaw mud sharks. Got it.
Oh my god! Oh,
I should have known. Hey, do you think that part of the reason why FBI crime statistics are the way they are is because there's extremely high instances of young black men being taught the ways of the world by their aunties?
Yes, and their uncles.
Ooh, their uncles? I thought it was an aunties thing.
And aunties and there's a lot of I'm not being racist. I'm not trying to be racist implying this, but
I was literally thinking that might have something to do with it.
There's in the Hispanic community, in the Black community, there's a lot of cases of this sort of like incestuous abuse. Yes, there is.
Imagine how horrifying it would be to have to sleep with a Latina who's hit the wall and was related to you.
Well,
aside from that meaning you're a Latino.
I'm not gonna say anything. You know what's also funny, I think, is that speaking of mind control, a lot of contemporary trends in prawn are also of the zestuous nature, like the stepmother, stepsister, like a lot.
That's not incestuous. It's specifically not.
No, but we all know why they're put it for legality purposes. They have to put step in the front of it.
Wow, it's amazing how we're not biologically related at all, but we still refer to each other as brother and sister.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Bratty sis. Remember when Kyle Rittenhouse was caught liking a bratty sis post? Anyways,
well, Kyle Rittenhouse never did anything wrong, but
no, of course.
Yeah. I mean, but look at but he has complete gooner physiognomy, and no one can say otherwise. Like,
no, but the thing is, it's so ubiquitous that you can't even fault him for that among Zoomers. Like, it's among millennials and Zoomers. Like, it's so ubiquitous that, not to say like all, like, I mean, yes, mainstream porn companies, there probably is some kind of intelligence agency work there. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but White teacher S tier fast. Oh my god. I think the post-wall thing is greatly exaggerated, to be honest with you. Anyways, that's me being a women respecter. It's me being a women respecter. No, but there is like a very weird salience between that content, how pornography has become more incestuous, and the sort of like Gooner world that we're experiencing. Did you read that Gooner article in Harper's Magazine?
I didn't. Oh, did you read the Gooner article in Harper's?
Oh, no, but it's no, but I'm saying like it was a good article.
No, but I did read the analysis of edging in Redbook.
Did you read the Gooner article? All-time one-liner.
Did you read the Gooner? Did you read the Gooner article? Did you read How to Seduce Your Stepson in Mother Jones?
Oh my God. That was an article in Mother Jones?
No.
I guarantee. See, you had me because I could imagine Mother Jones publishing that. Yeah.
How to Seduce Your Stepson.
Oh my God. There was that one famous one, and was it the New Yorker, where that woman, the writer, she like admitted to sleeping with her father. This was like during the 2010s confessional article craze. But
it's like I'm glad I slept with my father. Like
it was, she was. I mean, you could tell she was like trying to LARP as an ISNN, but like it was. But anyway, no. But my point being is that like there is like a very common trend nowadays, and you do see like even like in fucking Christmas, like or like remember like Thanksgiving, they're like, oh, my hot busty cousin, I'm good. Like that's a popular meme now. Like it's a popular meme. And not to say like everything is a CIA mind control program, no. But I'm saying like I think that I've said this before.
There's something a little too sweaty about the idea that the CIA wants me to fuck my cousin.
Right. No, exactly.
It's just a little too. It's a little too much.
Exactly. This may be the gayest LMD episode today. That's significant.
It's like, huh? Wow. I keep thinking about banging my relatives. The CIA did this.
No, but I think that to me it goes to a deeper void within the psyche of a lot of people for a variety of socioeconomic and cultural reasons. And I think that a lot of people, it's not that, to me, like it's not a simplistic Gooner logic of like, if I watch a porn film of like someone fucking his stepsister, fucking his stepmother, or whatever, it's not that I want to go out and fuck my sister. It doesn't work that way. This is the unconscious mind that is being influenced. It is a loss of, I think, a maternal instinct within culture, and that becomes translated into a fetish, because a lot of people, and you see this with like femgooners as well, they have like their own form of trauma-influenced incestuous kink. Like a lot of that is because
female pornography is unimaginably weirder than male pornography.
Right. Because a lot of people do have there is a crisis of gender. There is a crisis of relations between the genders, as there is a crisis of not just meaning, but also at a very deep level. I think, like, I contemplated writing an article about this. I had a bunch of academic papers lined up, but for years now, I've been terrified of actually writing this article because of what people would think. And it's a very like,
well, Gio, what would they think?
Yeah. No, but you know what I mean. Like writing an article about fucking incest pornography is something that you can only do if you're like an academic. If you know what I mean. Like if you're like, even writing about female literature is something that you could only do as like an official academic with tenure.
I guarantee that is not true.
No, but you know what I mean. It makes you. It would be totally like off the beaten path, weird, and it would just, because a lot of the stuff is dark. A lot of the research I came across in academic papers is incredibly dark and says very incredibly negative things about the state of the modern psyche writ large, the modern, the sort of contemporary unconscious, collective unconscious.
Sure.
And it's like, I feel like, you know, it's, I mean, maybe one day I will write it, but the literature thing is fascinating because now, of course, even on TikTok, you have a lot of pop psychology people. You have a lot of like outsider academics that are talking about like, why is it so normalized that vast swaths of younger to even
Why
older
do they
middle-aged women,
why do they put their porn tags on the covers of their fucking books?
yeah, with their real names and faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no,
So
it's slow burn. Oh no, don't worry. There's a non-spicy, like
yeah,
whatever the fuck it's called.
yeah.
Whatever their euphemisms are. Yeah.
But no, it bodes very seriously disturbing territory for our culture at large. But I noticed we haven't talked about serial killers in a minute, so let's go ahead and
God.
get through, you know. But all this is related because a lot of serial killers have memories of extreme sexual childhood trauma as well, or even misplaced maternal identity, such as Ted Bundy. You know, he thought his mother was his sister, and that was done for some kind of like family shame reason or whatever. But you know, there's a line. Yeah, Quino was also implicated in various finders groups things. And anyways, who was the Zoomer girl slang for who's too into book porn?
Oh yeah.
Don't they call it book talk?
There should I mean, I guess like
A Fujoshi? No, that's
no, a Fujo is into like yaoi, is into
Yeah.
dude on dude stuff. That's a girl
Yeah.
who's into pornography featuring gay men.
two twinks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
That's very dark and disturbing. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas it's wholesome for dudes to beat it to, you know, women pretending to be lesbians. A guy who was really into pornography of what actual lesbians look like would be comparatively much weirder.
What the Japanese have a term for that too.
What?
Like a guy that's into lesbian literature.
I mean, lesbian Japanese shit is called yuri.
Yeah, Yuri.
But,
Yeah,
no,
Yuri.
no. But I'm saying, okay, we're all aware that pornography produced for men featuring, you know, quote unquote lesbians, they don't look like lesbians look. Lesbians don't look like that. Lesbians are the ugliest women. Like
not always.
Virtually always.
There's lipsticks.
Dude, fuck no. Lipsticks are LARPers.
Maybe.
100% of the time.
No, but like there's I mean, yeah, a lot of lesbian porn is just for the male gaze, but like,
yeah, of course it is.
Yeah. No, but what I mean is like, I mean, there could be like a lesbian homie situation.
Lesbian homies.
Where like the guy she exclusively fucks studs, which is like a black African American centric thing. But anyways, let's move on.
You're attempting to deflect your knowledge of black porn. You're a Quan Mills reader, a frequent Quan Mills reader.
It's a great Tubi series called The Lesbian Homie.
The lesbian. It's called This Hoe Got Roaches in Her Crib.
No, but the stud in the black community is like a black lesbian.
Okay.
That is like more masculine or like has a roster of different like more feminized lesbians. And so the lesbian homie, it went super viral recently last month on Tubi because someone like had a Twitter post about it. But the lesbian homie is about this guy who ends up having a lot of relations with women who were stud lesbians. And
absolutely disgusting.
He's got like different like love triangle things going on because like they're lesbians, but they like dick. And that's like, and so the way they treat
they're not lesbians.
No, but the way they treat them is like almost like, well, among his black friends, it's like a sexual taboo because they view them as like lesbians, and so they view that almost as like a sexual transgression to have sex with a stud, with a lesbian.
But they're not lesbians.
Well, they were
former lesbians.
Oh, this is complicated. Anyways, let's move on. This is too insensitive. We need to get someone.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, we need someone representative of
we
the
need
community.
Representation here. I'm not comfortable speaking. I'm just
Wow.
It's a good series. It's a good series.
I will just have to. Yeah, Gio, how can you tell if you're a lesbian?
Let me consult the Oracle.
Gio, what if you're a lesbian?
I could be.
You could be a male lesbian. What do we call those?
Stud lesbian. So
all right. In one passage, for example, Estabrooks noted that multiple personalities are caused by a form of hypnotism in the first place. We will see that emotional shock produces exactly the same results as hypnotism. Later, he came a little closer to the truth. Multiple personality can be both caused and cured by hypnotism. Remember that war is a grim business. Suppose we deliberately set up that condition of multiple personality to further the ends of military intelligence. Still later, he came even closer. Everyone can be thrown into the deepest state of hypnotism by the use of what I termed the Russian method. No holds barred, deliberate disintegration of the personality by psychic torture. The subject might easily be left a mental wreck, but war is a grim business. War is indeed a grim business. War never changes, as Estabrooks was apparently fond of stating. But that argument hardly justified the type of research the doctor endorsed, including using children who are notoriously easy to hypnotize as research subjects. Decades after the publication of Estabrooks' seminal work, another psychiatrist/hypnotist by the name of Paul Verdier wrote an obscure book entitled Brainwashing and the Cults, an expose on capturing the human mind. Verdier's manuscript began on a promising note with the acknowledgement it must be accepted that brainwashing is now being used here in the United States by devious persons with personal gain in mind. Unfortunately, the author followed that bold proclamation with a woefully inaccurate accounting of who those devious persons might be. He did, though, provide a reasonably good description of the process of mind control, although Verdier, like Estabrooks, did not use the term mind control. By his account, the objective of the would-be brainwasher is to access those areas of the brain that are outside of the individual's conscious control. This is accomplished, the doctor explained, by circumventing the normal inhibiting response of the cerebral cortex so that an individual's voluntary self-conscious control will be bypassed or short-circuited. In order to disable what Verdier referred to as the brain's cortical block, all the following were recommended: alcohol, euphoric drugs, isolation, solitary confinement, and the most traumatic and unique item in the brainwashing arsenal, hypnosis. All of these brainwashing techniques significantly have been exhaustively researched by the CIA. Verdier went on to explain that in order to achieve truly lasting states of brainwashing or mind control, it is necessary to subject the victim to profound and deep emotional states. The recommended emotional states are fear, shock, and anxiety, all of which have an intense disinhibitive effect on the human brain. Even more effective is pain, because according to the eminent neurologist Dr. Wilder Penfield, interesting name, sensations of pain from the muscular sensatory system enter the subcortical brain regions directly. With a passage seemingly lifted from Estabrooks' writing, Verdier left no doubt that pain and fear are the most useful items in the MKUltra toolbox. Russian political scientists do support the belief that, given enough punishment, all the people in any time or place are susceptible to hypnotic control. Verdier echoed other of Estabrooks' beliefs as well, including the idea that brainwashing could and should be widely utilized for benevolent purposes, and the notion that children are ideal candidates for mind control programming. Brainwashing can be slow, insidious, and sure when applied to children early in life. It's likely that there's a short period of time following corporal punishment when a child is in a state of decortication, hypnosis, so to speak. This is the ideal time to plant the positive instructions for better behavior in the future. What the good doctor considered corporal punishment and positive instructions was left to the reader's imagination. The vulnerability of children to dissociative states brought on by traumatic abuse is one of the reasons the CIA and other intelligence agencies have played key roles in the creation of relatively mainstream satanic groups, as well as in denying the existence of underground satanic cults engaged in violent criminal enterprises. Are we gonna get into the finders?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weren't they Satanists or some type of Setian occultists or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they were Satanists, 100% theistic Satanists.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Some of the available evidence suggests that an array of satanic groups have served as intelligence agency fronts for mind control operations, which actually makes perfect sense, considering that if the goal is to severely traumatize children, then surely nothing compares to these seemingly outlandish stories told by those who have survived what has been dubbed satanic ritual abuse. Verdier took note in his book of the fact that one of the most pronounced emotional experiences that a human being can undergo is having his or her life threatened. Threats of death are used as a basic tool by brainwashing communists. Even among them, however, this threat is used sparingly, for they know that humans quickly adapt to this type of threat, especially if it is repeatedly given but never carried out. In order to avoid this routinization of stressful emotional states, they've been known to casually execute prisoners for the apparent effect it has on others. The actions that Verdier predictably attributed to brainwashing communists precisely mirror these stories that have been told repeatedly by self-described survivors of ritual abuse. These victims speak of receiving frequent death threats directed against both themselves and their family members. They speak also of having those threats reinforced through their forced witnessing of and even participation in the killing of others. There's been a tremendous amount of energy expended to discredit all such stories. At the forefront of the movement to deny the validity of these stories told by countless survivors is the False Memory Syndrome Foundation, a group led by a truly vile coalition of CIA-funded psychiatrists and accused, and in some cases convicted, pedophiles. Also playing a key role in the movement are Paul and Shirley Eberly, the authors of purportedly authoritative book called The Politics of Child Abuse. Eberly's book attempts to lay the blame for virtually all child abuse accusations and prosecutions on overzealous prosecutors, therapists, and parents. The argument might be a little more credible, however, if the Eberlys themselves were not known to Los Angeles police as distributors of child pornography, a fact that media outlets conveniently and rather consistently ignore while touting the Eberlys as authorities in the field of child abuse. Well, they would be authorities in the field of child abuse.
They're like hiding in plain sight. Yeah.
Well, no. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Who's more knowledgeable than a child abuser?
It's like that line from Cow and Chicken, the red man, the devil. He's like, I wanted to be a fireman, but then I discovered they only put out fires. It's like, oh my god. Yeah, but more like the Fahrenheit 4. Was it 4 Fahrenheit?
Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah, it's like the fireman. They actually did start fires. They didn't put them
They burned books. They burned books.
Yeah.
Like the mid-century Germans.
No, but
the ones you like to talk about.
Oh boy, the Austrian painters.
Austrian painter fan. Yes.
Austrian painter fan, Graper 88. That's
Austrian painter aficionado magazine monthly.
Oh my god. Egon Schiele on the cover. Anyways, no, but I remember hearing about that False Memory Institute. Or what was it called? The False Memory Institute.
Yeah. The False Memory Syndrome Foundation.
I remember like that was a big thing in like the mid 90s or even like in the 80s. I remember my old man talking about that, like the false memory thing.
Yeah.
But then the way it was framed as like a form of like moral panic hysteria, like all these
Oh, sure. Yeah.
people were talking about they would get hypnotized and they had like secret, false memory syndrome, consciousness of previous child abuse that was undiscovered by them. But I wonder if like that was part of the op to frame it as like,
Yeah, it was. That's the suggestion, right?
right, that like that you actually no, but like to
No,
say
they're
that
false memories. Yes, they're planted there by overzealous teachers and psychiatrists.
oh,
Oh, they're
okay,
all fake.
okay.
They're all fake
Okay.
memories. None of these are. Ooh, you're dreaming.
No, but that's what I mean. Like the response to these hypnotists that would do these things where they would hypnotize patients and they would discover latent sexual abuse memories. There was then this counter movement in the media and these like pop psychology stories from this foundation about like, well, actually, that was all just like a false memory planted into you, and you weren't actually abused. And it's like
Yeah.
a weird like you can sort of like go too far in one direction where it's like every kid was abused and you're all having like these hypnosis memories, but then you could go to the other way where it's like basically gaslighting and darvoing you into being like, well, actually you didn't discover shit. It's just like the psychiatrists themselves are planting, or the hypnotists themselves are planting this memory, and you need the official psychiatrist to like come in and sort out like who was actually abused and who wasn't.
Okay, so you're saying that it was like merely, it could be merely an industry like protectionism and credentialism type of thing,
Yes, yes, yes.
rather than something more sinister.
Right, because from the very foundations of psychiatry, there was always this like
Sure.
hatred and banning of hypnosis. Like you, but the thing is, like the foundations of psychoanalysis were from hypnosis. Freud saw a hypnotist. Freud was recommended a hypnotist by a psychoanalyst that came before him. I believe was Arthur Groddeck, who was experimenting with this, and so hypnosis was always sort of like barred from science, quote unquote, the science of psychiatry. But as we know, not all, of course, but like a lot of psychiatry has essentially been finagled with by intelligence agencies, as McGowan is going to talk about in this book. So, yeah,
absolutely. Let's see. Satanic ritual, communists reinforce. There's been a tremendous amount. Contrary to conventional wisdom, claims of ritual abuse are certainly not a modern phenomenon. Such claims have actually been around for quite some time, and they were given legitimacy by no less a historical figure than Sigmund Freud. Over 100 years ago, Freud recognized that ritual abuse was likely the primary cause of psychological problems that he observed in his female patients. Author Kevin Marin noted that Freud had commented on the marked similarity between what his patients told him and the accounts of witchcraft confessions in the 16th century. In a letter to a colleague written in January 1897, Freud pondered, but why did the devil who took possession of the poor things invariably abuse them sexually and in a loathsome manner? While their confessions are the torture, so like the communications made by my patients in psychological treatment. If Freud were alive today, he might as well add, and while the communications made by my patients a century ago, so like the stories told by therapists today of survivors of SRA. Should this remarkable consistency spanning several countries be attributed to some kind of recurring mass hysteria? Or can it best be explained by the fact that, as historians and the Chicago Tribune have noted, satanic cults have been documented in Europe and America as far back as the 1600s?
Oh, yeah.
Has there always been something dark and evil lurking in the shadows, only occasionally raising its head, at which times existence is denied, its perpetrators cast as victims, and its real victims mocked and ridiculed? To ponder such a question, alas, requires calling into question some of our most fundamental beliefs about the nature of the world we live in, and that is a decidedly unsettling venture. Nope, I'm bought in. There are demons. Perhaps when viewed in the context of a covert state-sponsored mind control program, some readers could begin to understand not only why there might be those who are motivated to inflict appalling levels of abuse on some of America's children, but also why so much effort would be expended to attempt to discredit the claims of horrific abuse if the claims are in fact valid. I was thinking of asking Mike of Pole to be my second chair this evening, but I realized that there's no way that he could handle listening to this.
What do you mean?
He would be crying. He would be. He's a gentle and kind person, and he could not. Like the last time I had him on LMD, it was just about some like fairly milquetoast Jolly on West experiments, and it did not go well for him. He was yeah. So glad you're here, Gio. A stalwart mind.
Well, I think I mean I have a moral impulse, but maybe because like the internet fried my brain at an early age, I think I can sort of intellectually examine very dark things while still condemning them. And I'm not perturbed. Like, I mean, anything to do with children, obviously I'm perturbed by, like in media or whatever. But in terms of reading about something, I can read about it and analyze it. But
right. You can feel an emotional distance. Yeah.
It was like that Chicken Hawk documentary when they went to that German store.
Oh, the Eye of the Chicken Hawk. Yeah.
Eye of the Chicken Hawk, and they went into the German store, and even kids that had their clothes on, given the context, it disturbed you.
Yeah.
Like it totally disturbed you. It was like, this is sick. But I think that even, it's like, you have to, I think, have a sense of hardness to deal with certain things that are very dark.
Phrasing.
Because, what would you say, Cap?
Phrasing.
Yeah. Like you have to have a sense of callousness, if you will.
There we go.
Not callousness. You have to have a sense of, how shall I say? Toughness is too much bombastic. I think you have to have a, what's a good word? You have to examine things in a second order intellectual way.
You have to do it with distance. Yes, you have to do it.
Distance and detachment.
You have to dissociate.
A little bit. Yes, you have to do it from a detached standpoint where you can sort of examine very dark. Because here's the value of it. The value is that, sorry if I'm yelling actually, but like
you're not yelling.
Sorry, but the value of it is that let's be real. A lot of these people run our world. A lot of these people are in positions of power, not for any happenstance, for a very, very logical series of reasons. Why? In the modern world, we are run by these type of people. And these go to very ubiquitous things within modern culture in the West and outside the West and so on and so forth. And you have to really dive into these things to get a true picture of the reality of various forms of power knowledge that we are given. There was actually a very great video. I desperately hope that one day me and Prude can interview him on DA. But what's the guy's name? Super Rare Books on YouTube, or something rare books on YouTube?
I don't know who that is.
Oh God, the guy with he's like an evangelical, but he's pretty like based. He had a channel strike recently, but he had this great video recently where he talks about super expensive books.
Okay.
And the expense of books is actually just a form of censorship, because either the publisher was scared off or the authors themselves were scared. Yeah. So he goes into a lot of satanic ritual abuse literature, and a lot of stuff is very rare. He spent hundreds of dollars on one book to gather on satanic ritual abuse.
I want to make a little confession. I buy rare books, as you know. And I have been looking for, I feel like this is very silly, but I've been looking for the books by the Sanction series by Roman McClay.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting Books Reviewed. That's the channel. Interesting Books Reviewed.
There we go.
20. This came out a few months ago. 20 oddly expensive books, and I believe Prude recently shared it on his channel. So, no, essentially, it's all just a form of censorship.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's exactly what happened with, like, for, in a slightly more mundane sense, that's exactly what happened with Camp of the Saints.
Yes.
Simon and Schuster just didn't want to republish it.
Yeah.
Right.
For obvious reasons. Yeah.
Yeah. For obvious political reasons, did not want to republish Camp of the Saints, despite the book being
super mainstream now.
It being several $100s for an original copy. In fact, the numerically rarer copy that was published by the American Institute for Immigration Studies in the 80s, which is a rarer version, was actually cheaper, just because it was cheaper than the Simon and Schuster version.
Not a mainstream publishing house, that's why.
Yeah. But eventually, when Valbon Books published it, they basically just they had to commission a whole new translation, right? And I mean, I'm pretty sure the guy who runs Valbon he does his own translations. So
he's a base frog, yeah.
Yeah, he's just a base frog. So I say just a based frog, but actually, kudos to him. He's doing great work. Everyone should follow Valbon Books, and also purchase Jean Raspail and Renard Camus' work from Valbon. But like a lot of it is just an attempt to decrease the prevalence of the signal. Yes. Right.
This happened with Tate's book, Children for the Devil, which the channel I can never remember. Interesting Books Reviewed.
I didn't even know that Andrew Tate had a book.
No, this is a different Tate. I know. No, Andrew. I mean, Hustlers University is something like that. No, but I forget his name, Tim Tate. But this guy on YouTube, Interesting Books Reviewed, he's evangelical, but he's a based evangelical, and he does this channel with his daughter and with his wife or his mother. And his mother and his daughter, he does this. And he's like just this wholesome Chungus guy with a beard. He's super articulate. But he talks about this book called Children for the Devil in this book list that they went to heroic lengths to get. That documents a lot of the research that Ted Gunderson and others were working on during the whole Franklin cover-up and in the Finders papers and so on and so forth. And there's a lot of books like that. A lot of books are very hyper-politically sensitive.
I think you mean the Franklin scandal.
Yeah, sorry, the Franklin scandal. Yeah, the Franklin scandal. And there's a lot of books in that list that are covered up for obvious political reasons, if you know what I mean. And a lot of it is centered around satanic ritual abuse. Because as an evangelical, he has been researching this Interesting Books Reviewed channel. This guy, I forget his actual name, but he's been researching satanic ritual abuse for many years because he used to be a counselor in the areas that it was happening. He used to actually be a child youth counselor.
Oh my God.
He saw firsthand what was happening.
Oh my God.
So, and he openly talks about all this stuff, and YouTube wants to take him down. I believe he appealed the channel strike. And
channel strike for what? Just like
it was another book tier list. It had a book. It was about books about geopolitical relations in the Middle East, and I'll say no more.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Strange. Yeah. Strange. So hey, I thought we read banned books. It's getting so like gay to make the banned books joke. But
I know. Yeah.
But the problem is that it's still like, it's still the case. It's like
the 60 Minutes Margaret Atwood interview. Did you see that, Kat?
No.
That clip, it was atrocious. But my book is so banned. Blah, blah. I'm the most banned woman in all of literature. Margaret Atwood.
All of literature. I'm the most banned woman in literature.
Yeah, but you were saying, Cap, though, with the banned books thing, yeah.
No. It's just,
it's ridiculous.
They all seem to be banned in one direction, and no one ever talks about those.
Yeah. I could go to banned books, but I could go to my local chapters, Indigo, and like get the banned book.
Yeah.
The Milking Barn. I could go and buy the Milking Barn.
You could go. No one will ever ban Quan Mills.
No one will ever ban my baby daddy stole my Ultima.
Yeah. I got both my homies pregnant. Yeah.
Oh man. I think Quan. So, anyways, yeah, a stud is
we're not doing
originating in Black lesbian communities for a masculine presenting lesbian, distinct from the broader, often white-centric term butch, emphasizing a specific cultural identity rooted in Black queer history and experiences often involving masculine presenting through style, demeanor, and a strong protective presence, while also spawning related terms like stern, stud plus feminine.
Truth be told, the stories told by survivors of ritual abuse tend to be self-discrediting. One of the potential benefits, therefore, of cloaking mind control activities and satanic rituals is that the operators are largely immune to disclosure. Even if an operation is uncovered, the stories told by the children tend to be so outlandish, so far removed from the world that we know, that the claims are easily cast aside as the product of a child's fertile imagination.
Oh, boy.
In May 2000, however, a report commissioned by the United Kingdom's Department of Health concluded that satanic ritual abuse was not, as an earlier report ordered by the conservative government found in 1994, a myth. The conservative government said it was a myth. Interesting.
You brought him on. You knew this would happen. Last time a host muted me, I stormed off the show. But I know that, but the difference being is that I know I'm being ridiculous. But yes. I'm just saying.
Well, muting you was part of the bit.
Yeah, exactly. With Lev, it wasn't part of the bit, but this is part of the bit. I'm sorry, Cap.
This is the bit. Ridiculous. You're fine.
But no, but I wonder. There was a lot of. I could be crazy for saying this. Okay, I could be crazy for saying this, but I do notice that the cases of serial killers in the UK, a lot of them do center around children. And we know that the British ruling class for a long time, well, we all know what has been going on. Many, many famous cases, not just Jimmy Savile, but even before Jimmy Savile. Of course, not to say it was connected to any intelligence, it wasn't, but there's one case that's very, very close to where I live. And so that's why I don't feel comfortable talking about it publicly. The Carla Homolka, Paul Bernardo thing.
You just did it.
No, I know, but I don't go into great length about talking about it.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, because I feel like it would be. I have a family member that actually knew the Homolka family that worked with.
I don't actually know anything. I know nothing. This is some.
You know the Barbie and Ken killers?
This is something. This is some Canadian stuff.
Yeah, it's a very famous case. Yeah,
this is some Canadian stuff that Americans don't know anything about.
Well, it became I think Americans did know about this at the time in the 90s, but no, but in the UK, there was a lot of cases. I mean, Myra Hindley, with involving children, and we all know what McGowan is saying here. The British ruling class, a lot of them have been caught in various child prostitution scandals, and I think there has been other UK serial killers, but a lot of people like to attribute the serial killer as a purely American centric phenomenon, which if you do look per capita, I think America does have a highly disproportionate amount of serial killers. Probably a combination of America being an open air insane asylum, but also because I think the records of them. There's a lot of there's been theories from parapolitics literature. There has been theories when it comes to intelligence agencies operating in the third or the second or fourth world that Jack the Ripper was likely. What is that?
when it comes to British examples, remember Jack the Ripper was likely protected by members of British high society.
He was, yes,
retaliation.
yes. Yeah, I mean, there was also other reasons for that, but so Jack the Ripper definitely was. People speculate it was.
I mean,
Doyle,
allegedly, there's DNA evidence that now proves that he was one of the people who was long suspected and who was an aristocrat.
Right. The whole Conan Doyle theory does not hold up, but no. So in America, I think the better record keeping and the media spectacle around it, but there has been theories that there are tons of serial killers in Africa, in Asia. I mean, the one famous one in Russia, of course, Andrei Chikatilo.
Yeah.
I mean, but here's the thing: the difference being is that in a lot of these martial and dystopian, not dystopian, but a lot of these like martial societies or societies run by dictatorial powers, that they're engaged in chronic habitual civil war, like in various African nations. I don't think there would be
gotta get that monkey off their back.
Right. Like there wouldn't be a need for a serial killer in the way that there is in the Western world, or at least in North America and parts of Europe, because you can just join your local militia and butcher and rape women and children all you want. Whereas, for example,
back home they'd hang me. Here they'll give me a fucking medal.
If it was not by the laws of my country, I would have killed you.
Yeah.
No, but I think, like, for example, there has been a lot of cases where, particularly British, but also Australian and French and German mercenaries have gone over to Ukraine during the whole Kursk excursion. They sent a lot of foreign mercenaries in there because a lot of them have, of course, superior training, but a lot of them just wanted to basically conduct sadistic things on the civilian populations of these contested areas in the Donbass. And then later in Kursk, in Sucha, there's been highly I'm not being like a Russia show by saying this, by the way.
Yeah.
I know the Russians have also committed war crimes, right? They've also targeted civilians. But there's been cases, for example, in the Sucha forest, where there's documented cases of children being killed en masse. And oh God, I hope this episode doesn't pull from YouTube. But the Russians do it as well. I'm not excusing a lot of the Russians targeting civilians as well. But there is an incentive in Iraq and Afghanistan and Libya and now in Ukraine for foreign mercenaries to go over and get their jollies on civilian populations. Always happened. Zero accountability in Iraq and Afghanistan with all of these private military companies. And
yeah, but I don't think that my treasured mutual Eric Prince would have cottoned to any of that.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything. If he really is your mutual, then I will refrain from criticizing Blackwater. There's a lot of criticism to be had. It
is fine.
Imagine what the CIA is doing in Ukraine right now. Exactly.
Oh yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
Yeah. And like I say, I'm not excusing the Russians. The Russians have definitely targeted civilians. There has been cases of rape by the Russian military. I'm not. So it's a tragic situation.
I don't think that I don't like to be clear. Like, yeah, you are right, but I also think that PMCs. I think we should do letters of marque and reprisal again to on, for example, illegals, right? Which would obviously have some negative consequences and would attract a certain amount of actual crazy people to the job. Right.
The lack of accountability is the biggest problem. That's
right.
Like even in Iraq, Afghanistan, there were PMCs that raped civilians.
Sure.
Yeah, tortured. So. Man, this is such a dark fucking episode. I know we're joking and laughing about different stuff, but this is legitimately a dark episode. This is very.
I mean, this is going to be a very dark book. This is going to be a dark season. It's going to be a very dark season. There's no Gary and Larry here reciting the list of the cocktail parties that they didn't get invited to in DC in the 1970s. Right. There's not going to be a Marxist talking about Debordian theory. It's going to be pretty bloody.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I use salacious in the episode. I use the word salacious in the episode description. So,
I'm not replacing Sandy. I'm just a fill-in. I'm not going to replace. I would never replace Sandy.
Traditionally speaking, my co-host is always bullied on this show. So,
really,
yeah.
Why?
No, I don't do it. It's just the audience.
I love Sandy. He's a sweetheart.
I do too. But you know, him getting negged is why he's stuck around us so long.
Oh,
so
boy.
the audience is DDDing. This is the audience is DDDing Sandbatch.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
You guys logging him. Yeah.
Imagine a Geo and Dimes. Do you even read stream?
Oh.
The answer would be no. We've talked about. Actually, you know what? I think we've made the least progress in the book for any episode of LMD ever. This is amazing.
Well, there's so much to talk about.
There is. Yeah, no, I mean,
it's been 2 hours over. We're probably not going to get through the first.
Oh no, we're not going to get through the first part. Probably.
Let's try to read some more, then I'll shut up for a minute. Yeah.
No, you're fine. Let's see. The Independent noted in anticipation of the report's release that a specially commissioned government report will this week conclude that satanic abuse does take place in Britain. It will say that its victims have suffered actual abuse and are not suffering from false memory syndrome. And are not suffering from false memory syndrome. That's how I should have done it in the annoying British accent.
Oh boy.
One of the primary authors of the controversial report was therapist Valerie Sinison, who reportedly had personally treated 126 survivors of ritualized abuse. According to a report of The Guardian, Sinison has said 46 of her patients claimed to have witnessed the murder of children or adults during ritual abuse ceremonies and have involved up to 300 people at a time. Some 70% of the reported abuse was carried out by pedophiles and the rest by Satanists. The Independent added that 16 of the victims also claimed they had seen induced abortions or babies killed. Citizens' research has led her to conclude that some children are born for the purpose of abuse and are not registered on birth certificates.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's horrifying. That claim has been voiced repeatedly by U.S. victims as well. In a report from February 2000, The Independent revealed that Sinison had photographs documenting horrific injuries to children and the existence of ceremonial sites with the remains of mutilated animals. The same article noted that Scotland Yard had begun an investigation. It is unclear where that investigation led, as it is unclear what the official response was to the release of Sinison's study. Media outlets appear to have dropped the story just before the report was issued. Many readers of the press accounts that preceded the report's release were no doubt predisposed to dismiss Sinison and her fellow researchers as cranks. Where exactly readers were left to ponder, was this alleged photographic evidence showing children with horrific injuries? And where is the evidence of ritual murder being performed? As it turns out, shockingly enough, such evidence is not that difficult to find. Yeah, I mean, all of us know that now because, the internet. Mm-hmm. As hard as it may be to believe, especially for readers conditioned to think that all such stories are nothing but urban myths, photographic evidence of exactly the sort described by Sinison is being... By the way, who is the guy at all of these Chinese factories who is just like, I'm going to upload this footage. This is going to do great online. Every time there's an industrial accident, you're just like, man, Chong really got splattered all over the floor. Yeah. The lathe machine really stuck him to the rafters, and I had to clean it. I had to clean it up. So I'm gonna, I'm gonna get a few clicks. I'm gonna get my little dopamine hit to come back from this. I'm gonna upload his ass getting killed. Who's doing that? If my coworker got greased in a horrific accident, I would not be jumping to upload the footage.
But that really goes to show that the spectacle society has taken over. It's like the fact that your first instinct is that, oh, this is going to do numbers on the internet.
Yeah,
it's like a lot of those original shock sites or sites like Rotten, Ogreish. It's what he
It's
would have
what I
wanted. Fuck! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh fuck! That's terrible. That's so fucking cruel.
A traditional Chinese burial being crushed under a
You know what the problem is?
under a 20,000 ton hydraulic press.
This is the glorious the Cultural Revolution, the Industrial Revolution of China. This, you know what sucks is that he's even tastier now that he's buried. You never had a century egg?
Oh, they're delicious.
No, I've never had a century egg.
Oh, they're good. Yeah.
I wonder if century egg sales exploded because
Randall Shirker. See, also Erica Kirk schizo ideas, Gio. I'm not sure. Fuck. I'm not sure what that is in response to specifically.
I mean, I don't like. I don't want to go there, to be honest with you.
I mean, those are the most fucking annoying.
Yeah,
those are the most fucking annoying conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I don't think it's conspiracy. I think I mean, she's just kind of weird. I don't know. It's not like I can't pretend to know.
Oh, on the spectacle stuff with take sellers and shit, Randall Shirker.
Oh,
yeah, no, that totally makes sense. Like, yeah, okay, that totally makes sense.
And stuff and
yeah.
Like, I mean, it's obviously there's a market incentive to put out things like that. Obviously, and
but I mean, people are also like our format drama brained.
Right, exactly.
So they're like, oh, she planned it. You know, she planned it to take over TPUSA because, you know, I don't know, owning it anyway as marital property was not enough. Like whatever. Like, yeah,
controlling the owner of a company through sex is the best method of owning a company than just like assassinating. So that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I know.
Like if he died, she would have got all of it anyways. Eventually. Like it doesn't I think the problem is that there's other conspiracies that people talk about, like the connection with, you know, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to speculate. I just think that, like you were saying, the discourse over a horrific public event continues.
Right.
Because I don't think that we've ever, in the modern internet age, we have seen the assassination of popular journalists. We have like the Rachel Corrie thing, for example. But but the level of like a politicized act of terror against someone who is part of a major part of political discourse is really, I think, virginal territory in terms of what people are accustomed to. And there has been assassinations of politicians, and even in the third world today, there continues to be the fourth, fifth world. But the level of like seeing it seeing it live streamed is of someone who is a political influencer is quite different.
Oh yeah. It's another level.
I don't want to. I think, like, for example, I mentioned at the very beginning, I mentioned Hofstadter. A lot of what he's saying is cope and misdirection and wrong, but I do think that there is a degree to which the proliferation of conspiracy does rely on a form of emotional truth or trying to get hold of reality by putting it into a neat narrative. But I wouldn't want to say all like this is the problem with people that quote unquote debunk conspiracies, is that they want to fit every conspiracy as like, oh, it's sort of like the new atheists when they came to God. Like, oh, you just want an emotional crutch, man. And that's why you believe in God, because you need an emotional crutch. It's like the same rhetoric is applied to conspiracies. But there are genuine, like, out there schizo conspiracy theories, especially by people that have an incentive to be take sellers, that they'll spin to like slow drip to keep their names in the news and attention economy. So there's always a sort of there has to be a sort of phronesis sort of a prudent ability to navigate those two things. Hofstadter's a dumb fucker who I would be shocked if he was exposed as a paid CIA shell. Well, a lot of his associates actually, like you were saying, Randall Shirker, I mean, a lot of his associates were academics working with the CIA.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be shocked either. I mean, we all know the Cass Sunstein papers. That was actually, you could find public records being sponsored by the CIA on his work on the human brain and conspiracy theories. That's there has been for many, many decades. The debunkers have been paid off.
Yeah.
This is true.
You think people plan things? Idiot. Things just happen on accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as Shirker says, even Burnham did work for a little bit in the CIA. So but then again, I wouldn't want to say just because somebody worked for the CIA or worked for academia that's related to the government that their work is immediately hogwash. Carol Quigley came the closest, I feel, in political theory to an analysis of power after the Cold War. Kondylis was another one, but Carol Quigley was pretty far up there when it comes to state-sponsored academia. I mean, he was a mentor to fucking Bill Clinton. So, but that being said, I bring him up because Carol Quigley's work, I feel, is invaluable. And for whatever you can say about Alex Jones, I do think that republishing Tragedy and Hope, I mean, I remember when it came out on InfoWars, I actually bought Tragedy and Hope from InfoWars because that was the only place you could get it at the time. So I think him republishing Tragedy and Hope was a huge thing for political theory. And there's a lot of excellent books out there that were people that were ostensibly glowies, but have very good information in them. They have very good information, maybe in spite of the fact that they're using that information against you. So that's a very fascinating, and again, and this all relies on a sense of political prudence, I feel, when it comes to this type of stuff. But like you mentioned this stuff.
What do you mean? What do you mean by political prudence?
Well, to separate what is something that is a warranted conspiracy and warranted analysis versus what is disinformation or what is merely just, a take seller doing a spectacle, But stuff like this, like children witnessing abortions and child murder, and it's just, it seems fantastic. It seems like one of these like evangelical pro-lifer wet fantasies, but no, it happened. You can find the documents. It's there. It's reality. And a lot of people that have this immediate gut repulsion towards conspiracy theories, because I think what it is that.
So, okay, but the thing is,
you go ahead, Cap. I have a greater point. Go ahead, Cap. Go ahead, Cap. Yeah.
The thing is that you also like sometimes these very salacious things like that, which, I mean, the finders call it absolutely real, multiple instances of these rings of powerful people doing horrendous things to children and others obviously exist. But then you also have instances of things like QAnon, which is like has all of the same salaciousness and very little of the actual content.
Or itself could be an attempt to mislead people.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like,
right. Yeah.
When I say content, I mean like the factual quality.
Exactly. Yeah. No, and there's been speculation that QAnon was an intelligence agency project.
I mean, it sure seems like it has. The results of it have not gone have gone in a way that the intelligence community would probably like them to have gone.
Exactly. Oh, you mean we're going to get a bunch of schizos to trust the government, a super secret version of the government again? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So not to say like all QAnon people are bad or they're
no. Sure.
There's a lot of intelligent people that I think piece the things together. I wouldn't want to like cast aspersions on anybody who is a QAnoner, but there is like a lot of disinformation.
Every year that goes by, I feel a little more. I feel a little more like Pizzagate was real.
Pizzagate. Yeah, there's a lot of very disturbing things. Yeah, people witnessed it on the chans. They witnessed whole sections of information being erased in real time. When it comes to that, I mean, when it came to the actual pizza place, no, that's stupid. But when it came to the other implications about these people,
James Alefantis is a fucking weirdo.
he is, yes.
Like, to be real, like,
yeah.
James, I completely believe James Alefantis was doing some weird shit.
Yes, yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, yeah. No, but what I was gonna say is I think a lot of people, they can look at things after the fact, sometimes decades after the fact, through like a History Channel documentary or some kind of popular YouTube documentary, and they can view things with the knowledge that the ruling classes of these Western countries have done things that are sick and disgusting and abominable and inhuman. Like here, like abusing children, making them witness child murder. But I think the thing, and this is the tick, I think, of what I would like to call the alt normie sphere, like the Joe Rogan American, where you'll talk about open conspiracies with people at work or your family at
But it will
Thanksgiving.
never, ever, ever influence your behavior.
Exactly. Or it will never rise to the level of questioning current crops of elites. Because there's always this thing of like, oh, it can't happen again, can't happen here. Or it's a psychological mechanism in which you figure that majority of Western countries are run by a very impersonal managerial state. And because the internet is purported to be this transparency society in which all information can be accessed at any time, therefore it gives people the illusion that this very evil machinations of the elite are a thing of the past, and that the current crop of managers are either too dim-witted or are too disembodied and relying on impersonal processes of power to actually commit these acts. Whereas that's completely wrong. I mean, even though we have a very sophisticated, it's failing in a lot of cases, but for lack of a better term, a sophisticatedly run managerial apparatus that is sort of like a turnkey of power, where the common person doesn't really have a say besides voting, and really who cares. Even though we live, because I'm a Canadian, I could say this, because America does have a lot of personalized politics in terms of political leaders, but throughout the majority of the Western world, we have these sort of like quote unquote turnkey managerial democracies that aren't really, well, whatever. So people think, well, because it's such an impersonal utilitarian system, then therefore the direct acts of evil by agents within that system is something that is a thing of the past. Or we like to believe that because we live in the internet age, the transparency society, as Byung-Chul Han calls it, that conspiracies can no longer happen in the same way. But you are not immune to propaganda. Conspiracies still happen. Information is still, governed away from you. And elites very much still do these things. But because they're so abstracted from ordinary experience of people, that you can openly talk about it with your coworkers. Hey, did you hear what Epstein did? Did you hear what Diddy Blood did? But it doesn't really do anything because, like you were saying, Cap, on a very deep existential level, your behavior never changes. You will still go and vote. You'll still pay your taxes. You'll still operate with the assumption that we live in this managed state of like Western neoliberal consensus, global progressivism that doesn't have a lot of input from individual agents manipulating that system. But that system is manipulated all the time by individual agents. And a lot of it's done by people just assuming that this is what you have to do to even be a manager. So Richard Malice, that which can be equally explained by stupidity. Well, it's stupidity.
It's totally no.
Yeah.
It is a thought terminating phrase.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, it's a thought terminator. Yeah, it's true. Like I do, I will be the first to say that like network effects are extremely valid.
Power, knowledge, governmentality. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, again, just like network effects is like literally being in the same social groups as people in power. Like people will naturally tend to reward them.
Yes.
like that a lot of that, especially like CRA type stuff, that is a significant component of it.
Yeah.
Which is not to say that like, but that also doesn't say that people don't plan actual ops, right?
Right.
So,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, like Siwoo Dev says, the impersonal nature of the system is why evil gains access. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So no one wants to like believe that there's like, CIA operatives or people in power that are molesting children. It seems so fantastical. It seems like one of these crazy end times Hall Lindsey, Late Great Planet Earth, evangelical conspiracy theories that were very popular in the 70s and 80s and 90s. And it seems so out there that people are like, oh, but that's crazy. Like, oh, the McMartins, they hounded that poor family. But then, like, you actually go into the finder's documents and you go into what Ted Gunderson was researching and what that Tate guy was researching. It's like, no, this stuff is very much real. And there's a lot of questions over, I mean, the British stuff is beyond question. The British stuff is horrifying.
Well, and I mean, and it is, especially because, I mean, you can just read David McGowan, right?
Yeah.
Which some of the stuff attributed to him is real.
Stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Some of it is real, and some of it, like after he was basically,
he de-radicalized himself, quote unquote, and he walked back a lot of stuff.
The operation ended.
I think he got tired of being harassed by Interpol, maybe. Like he still operates a blog, and I think a lot of that stuff is very scary, but then a lot of it's scary because I think a lot of people that are like edgelords online take it upon themselves to do different things, which is even scarier.
That's the whole point.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Yeah.
That is that's 100% the point.
Yeah, you DIY satanic psyop. And it's very funny, like David McGowan, he like went through the whole like Fringo gamut, like starts off as a satanic wignat, then goes to radical Islam, then like allegedly goes to being like this, run-of-the-mill perennialist. It's like, I don't believe in all that stuff anymore. And so it's very,
of course, but he's also the guy who's like, you should lie to people about your beliefs to gain power in their systems, and then use it for your own ends. And then you should be willing to burn those bridges.
Where you got that from?
He literally fucking Takia?
Well, Takaya, but also from Michael Aquino.
Okay.
Aquino talks about this, if I recall. Yeah, but Takaya is
role. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, go ahead, Cap. Yeah,
but when that's part of a central part of his statements, right? And then he subsequently does that for the rest of his career. Like, it's like, it's like this whatever this guy does is done dishonestly for his own ends, right? So
there's some people that are so far out there, you don't know what they really believe what their end game is. You're right.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's like, you just know that whatever he's doing is for his own ends, and he will absolutely burn you. Like that. Lots of people are like that who are not like noted theistic Satanist authors.
Right. So, yeah. Well, even Aquino himself, he was very slippery with like what he actually believed in. He was a Setian, wasn't he? Or he had a relation to Jack Parsons, and
I haven't read him. So,
well, even people that were in the Church of Satan, people that would become these like countercultural figures on the political right, like Boyd Rice, Nicholas Schreck with Radio Werewolf. A lot of these guys, they do have a very slippery relationship. I think because a lot of them are hounded by Antifa, but also like they become these sort of like weirdo mystical figures. And who knows if it's really just a front. I mean, Nicholas Schreck became this like perennialist mystic. He lives in Israel right now. He divorced Zena LaVey. Yes. I believe Nicholas Schreck was also and Aquino. they were both heretical to Anton LaVey. And I mean, Boyd Rice, there is something where it's like, it's being an edgelord and it's funny and it's out there. And it's the same thing with Death in June. Like it's not just like, okay, it's not just like the edgelord politics. I'm generally a fan of Death in June. I really love their music. I really love Doug P's music. But what I think, like, is he really an Austrian Painter fan? Is like, I think being obsessed over the imagery and stuff like that, there's something to be said about it. But it's very hard to separate like what is an act done for shock and what is an artistic thing put out there as a genuine statement. It's very hard to separate sometimes. Whereas Boyd Rice, I think it's not that hard because Boyd Rice generally is someone on the political right. But Doug P is like, but like there's a lot of these guys, a lot of these countercultural figures that have a lot of strange connections with this stuff. Like even Manson was connected to the Beach Boys and Jim Morrison and there's a whole alternative history of a lot of the art world and the music world that were tied to a lot of this stuff. But yeah, like I mean, David Maya, like I even feel uncomfortable talking about this shit because like it's
I've heard. I mean, I have definitely
a lot of crazy people are out there. You know what I mean? You don't really want to attract attention to yourself. So
yeah.
But anyways, what were you saying, Cap?
Oh no, I mean, I have heard you. I have heard you note your awareness of several of these things in the past without getting into them. This is probably the most I've ever heard you talk about it. Actually, the most I've ever heard you indulge yourselves.
Well,
you're not a person who tends to cut off your own sort of the train of thought when you get on it. So I can tell that you actually do have some real trepidation there.
I have real trepidation because I think there's a lot of crazy people on the internet, and I would
of course there are. Yeah.
Want to, like for example, that BX woman. I don't know how she does it. She deals with a lot of crazy people that are after her. But
what do you? I mean, there are literal like trans murder cults out there right now.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So
the Zizian thing. I had this debate actually with Catherine.
What?
She's like, it's not a real cult, it's a friendship affinity group. I go, what's the difference?
Oh,
I love Catherine. I love it, but I think like I respectfully disagree. I think that a lot of cults start off as affinity groups, of friendship affinity groups.
Sure.
And there's a very blurred line between the two. And I think the Zizian thing, the fact that they have a lot of I
don't think there really is a blurred line. I don't think there really is a blurred line. I think that actually this whole mind control induction state thing is the difference.
Right. Yeah. You could. Yeah.
Like an intentional and purposeful, like the deployment of an intentional and purposeful technology of control is the difference.
Right.
And Z's definitely has that. I mean, like the thing is, you could also say that the whole rationalist like Yudkowsky thing like got very close to it, but Yud was not going. Yud wouldn't do it, right? He was just like a little bit too
guy.
He was a little bit too much of a libtard,
right? Exactly.
Like he was too much of a libtard normie to put on the crown. But he could have, like the rationalist could have done that any time, and the one who ended up doing it was Z's.
You're right.
So that is Ziz. I should not slander Z's, bruh.
No,
like
of course not.
Australia's favorite. I don't know. I guess he was technically like a
sensitive young man.
Well, he was like actually his real name was Aziz. I think he was actually an Arab, like who grew up in Australia.
No, I think he was Persian.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's a little better. AA mentioned, but yeah, like one of Australia's favorite sons.
No, but I think like the reason I'm not trying to cut myself out. It's just that I wouldn't want to like I mean it's very hair raising territory, and I think that I'm sensitive to season. Sorry. No, I think that a lot of the stuff is very scary, and a lot of it in terms of like the fringes of far right politics, doesn't bode well. And yeah, and then we see all these kids that are into this stuff on Discord, and it's very, very sad. So and like you said, like you don't know whether to believe David Mayat or not, if he's really de-radicalized or if it's
Well,
just
I know not to believe him.
exactly. Exactly. You know not to believe him. Yeah. Yeah. Sort of like a lot of other influencers on the internet. It's like you just as long as you don't believe what they say, it's good. It's
yeah, absolutely.
The Zizian thing is very
not
funny.
Believe. Yeah.
The Zizian thing is very interesting though. It's because I think a lot of people for many years have talked about this relationship between the New Age movement in Silicon Valley that happened in the 1990s.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the transhumanist stuff does often come off with a sense, I mean, however materialistic and secular it is, does come with a sort of sense of mystical language. And the Zizians, in a lot of ways, took it a step further. I mean, a real transhumanist cult that has a very perturbed relation to gender, to far left politics, and there is a lot of very interesting research to be done, but something that is ostensibly destructive. And I think that I mean, a lot of people that would wish to downplay it, the way that there's a lot of research on the far right and O9A, but when it comes to the Zizians, though, you notice a lot of journalists, they downplay it, and they say, well, it's just a friendship group that not to accuse Catherine of downplaying it, but I'm just saying that there's obviously a political salience there with mainstream journalism. And
I mean, the thing is that the Zizians would not have the kill count they did without being like coddled for being trannies.
Yes.
Like if that wasn't the case, the guy that they assaulted twice before they murdered him, right? He'd still be alive because they wouldn't have been released on bond.
Exactly.
With an order of protection, whatever the fuck good that does. No, right. You can't murder me. I have this piece of paper. Oh, you don't believe in anything? I guess you don't believe in this piece of paper.
You don't believe in the human form
I'll die.
Yeah. Well, very similar to the grooming gangs in the UK. Very similar.
Well, I mean, sort
the
of.
Police are unwilling. Well, sort in the sense that authority.
The police are unwilling. Yeah, the police are unwilling to. Oh, they might think we're racist. Well, maybe we should be racist.
there was actually a UK cop drama. I think it was called Frost. My parents were watching, and this was a subplot. It was a woman who was murdered, and they had to find like the killer had to be like of a certain complexion as opposed to like Jamaican that was like a big concern even in the early 90s in these cop dramas, that they didn't want to appear as being racist. And I'm like, fuck, man, that's like, and I think the killer actually did turn out to be her ex-lover or something like that, who was Jamaican. But it's just like, man, even like British cop dramas in the early 90s, they
paid the toll.
Yeah, they had this like racial awareness. I'm like, oh my
god. The United States that gets blamed for a lot of the ills of the world, but the one thing that we truly do, that we truly should apologize for, is for exporting our gay race politics to the rest of the world. It's because it all comes from us. It all comes from us, and like the media saturation and people saying things like, Wales was built by Africans or whatever. Yeah. Anyway,
I gotta go soon. So
no, we're almost at the end of the line here. All right, let's see. As it turns out, shockingly enough, such evidence is not that difficult to find, as hard as it may be to believe, especially for readers conditioned to think that all such stories are nothing but urban myths. Photographic evidence of exactly the sort described by Sinison is being peddled all over the internet. But even with such compelling evidence being widely circulated, many will still be tempted to discount the stories told by these survivors of such abuse. Skeptics are advised to keep in mind the words of Detective Robert Simondel of the Chicago Police Department. It's difficult for us to believe such crimes are occurring, but they are all over the United States. Indeed, all over the world, as we shall see in the next chapter.
Whoa.
And that's it. We finished.
Next chapter, pedocracy.
Pedocracy.
Oh my God. This has been a trip of an episode.
It has. I appreciate the I think we got through maybe 7 pages.
Oh my God.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
All
right.
Well, Gio, what do you have to shill? I'm pretty sure everyone knows. Where to find you, but give it to the people.
Well, you can always support me on Patreon and Substack, patreon.com/production, substack.com/Gio's Content Corner. Hours of exclusive interviews and content, only $5 a month. I came up with another painting discourse video today. I was painting a landscape near the lock, near the canal, where I was talking about what can be termed slop realism in cinema. And it's I quite enjoy the painting videos. And hopefully this week I will come out with another Content Minded. But also tomorrow, we have the first part of our Digital Archipelago review of Steins Gate.
The long-awaited,
first part. So it's a hell of a series, hell of an anime. So there you go. That's my shilling. And I'm sure you have what movie you covering this week with Mike?
It is so our guest this week is Lee the Greater after an abortive attempt to have him on earlier. But the movie we're watching is another Frank Grillo vehicle.
Whoa!
We're doing the Grillo and Chillo. It's gonna be a great one. And it is humorously enough. I mean, it's basically about a Venezuelan child abduction. It's about Venezuelan Epstein, basically.
Oh,
yeah.
It's like that Sound of Silence movie.
Oh God, no, we're not fucking not on drive time. Not happening.
What's that called? Something Silence?
I think it's The Sound of Silence.
With Jim Caviezel?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Caviezel the Weasel. That's probably what they called him in college. But
oh my God. Anyways, this has been great.
Yeah, this has been great. Thanks for everyone who tuned in. We will see you next time.
Ciao.
You're discouraged from questioning and thinking critically. You must accept the word of the leaders. They make you feel guilty if you do question or argue. Your environment is often controlled, cutting you off from friends, family, school, previously held beliefs. They want you to become dependent, provide a poor diet, poor health care, little sleep, and long, exhausting hours of work to make you physically weak and lower your ability to think clearly. Subtly, your self-confidence gets undermined, and your self-image or sense of identity is changed. The leaders control channels of communication. They cut off or put down outside sources of information. Then they bombard you with what they want you to think. They use strong peer pressure, playing on your desire to be loved and accepted. The leaders may promise rewards if you obey them and punishment if you don't, but they alternate harshness and leniency in order to confuse you. The leaders manipulate language, giving special meanings to words that only insiders understand. This is to make you feel like you're part of a special, important, or elite group, and that outsiders are inferior, dangerous, or doomed. You have to confess your shortcomings, mistakes, or misbehavior, sometimes even if these things never really happened. And meanwhile, your time and activities are tightly controlled. You don't have much privacy or energy or time to think because you're too busy doing monotonous, repetitive tasks. The leaders try to control you and even your sexuality, everything about you. They want to exploit you for their own enrichment, their own power or grandiosity. If they succeed, you will declare your loyalty to its leaders, rejecting your old values and way of life. Without realizing it, you will have been changed into a person who is being controlled by a totalist cult.